What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another Timonspodcast. I'm your host, Timon. This is my podcast where I have real conversations with authentic people. And today's guest is Jesse Stoltzfus. He is what I envision every Goshen night, every person of Goshen should be. Just a beautiful individual doing awesome things. Links below in the show notes for the stuff he's doing. Slotzfus Mannor, Trees of Goshen. For sure, check those out. We had a great conversation. I've learned so much about Jesse. Every time I sit down with someone, I learn a little bit more about just their backstory, and I love learning more about individuals, and he's got a great story. So I won't spoil it. He's got some cool stuff. You're going to love this conversation. Let me get to some business real quick. One, I got a Twitter. I'm thinking about getting Twitter Blue. Not sure about that yet, but the Twitter is Timonspodcast, all one word on Twitter. And then I also have a YouTube where you can actually watch this recorded, Timonspodcast on YouTube, all one word. They should be linked also in the show notes. So go check those out. Sub if you have not subbed. It's fun to see just us and what we're doing. And the big news, I have a baby daughter. So last podcast I released, about 24 hours later, boom, she was born. It was awesome, very healthy. Her name is Noah Joy, and she is the love of my life. So anyways, I just want to thank you. Shout out to everyone that's been, kept us in our thoughts and prayers, and wanted to give you the news. So that's really exciting. So, well, okay, enough of news, enough of business. Let's get to the podcast, guys. Jesse Stoltzfus, you guys are going to love it. Enjoy. Let's start it. Let's just start it.
Okay.
Chickens and bees. Welcome.
How do we start a podcast? Chickens and bees.
Well, you turn it on.
So it's on.
And it's going.
Oh.
And that's how it goes.
What do we do? Like cheers?
Yeah, cheers.
Okay, cool.
Jesse, welcome, brother.
Thank you, Timon.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
It's been, you're definitely someone I've been wanting to podcast with for a minute. And so this is good.
Well.
And you gave me the suggestion to have Richard on. That was a solid podcast. I'd have
Was
blasted.
it?
Yeah.
I missed it?
Dude, yeah.
Well, I'll just have to look for it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I don't know what episode it is, but he was solid. We just sat and chatted and went into some deep stuff. He's been giving me podcast advice to hey, listen to them. And I'm like, dude, blowing my mind on some stuff.
Pajot and everybody? Or?
Yeah, it was the Lord of Spirits podcast. They are these Eastern Orthodox guys who break down some deep stuff on just biblical things, and it blows my mind on some stuff.
I need to do more of that. I need to, Well, I've been going to the Orthodox Church.
Right.
Yeah, that's powerful stuff. It's beautiful.
Yeah. You went. He told me you went for Pascha.
Yeah, about a year ago. So I've been going for a solid year and almost a half now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
You enjoy it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
There's something to it. I think there's. Well, did you grow up in
Mennonite?
Mennonite, okay.
Yep. Started East Goshen, ended up at 8th Street, and then 20 years out.
Okay,
It was my first foray back into the church.
Wow.
Yup.
Whoa, okay.
I went to the old school.
Yeah. But there's something, too, because you grow up in, and I don't know those churches super well, but I've been around that kind of church. Mm-hmm. Maybe they sing hymns, right? But then they have the sermon and the stuff, or maybe they'll do a little more contemporary. I'm not sure if it was similar.
Yeah, the two churches were mix of conservative and liberal. And, yeah.
And it's your typical maybe 1 hour, 2 hour service, and then you're done.
Yep.
There's some community.
Yeah, you're I miss the 4-part harmony, although we get that in the Orthodox Church too. I
was going to say, do you know Adrian? You know Adrian Church.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, he used to show me some of the Gregorian chants. I don't know if they're Gregorian, but whatever the chants are, they're just so solid.
They are.
I love them. Yeah, there's deep.
Yeah, there's no it's very interesting. So after having gone there for a year and a half now, I still don't know all the lyrics to all the songs. There's no songbook.
Oh, wow.
You just show up and you start following along. It's all oral. You're just learning by repetition.
Oh, wow.
Now you can look it up. You can look up the entire service. Just recently I found out there's a website that has it all on. I'm oh, wow, that's kind of helpful.
Is it the same service that everyone's doing at the same time?
All the Antiochian churches do the same service around the country at the same time.
That's cool, actually.
It's pretty cool, right?
Because you tied into a whole group of body doing the...
Yeah, and the same service has been done for what I'm understanding is around 1,700 years.
Wow. So there's a lot of connection to that.
Right.
Yeah. There's substance. I love that stuff. I'm not saying that the other churches, East Mennonite or 8th Street, didn't have it, or regular churches.
Any other churches.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
But there is something to that. And the symbolism, I think we miss a lot of that. I was talking to someone, and they're like, they went from normal, I would say evangelical, not normal, but evangelical Christian, Protestant Christian, they went Catholic. And they're
that's a big switch.
They switched, yeah. And they're like, you guys don't have altars. Like, where do you go and sacrifice, and think about the sacrifices the Lord did for you, things like that.
Yeah.
There's symbols in the whole thing of the whole worship that
everything has a purpose.
Yeah.
And it's been built on for generations.
Yeah.
And it's cool to be a part of something that's that old,
That's cool. And I know they're growing. That's how
they are.
Cool
they
thing.
are. It's
very healthy.
It is a growing church, yeah. So we got this new building coming up. I'm excited to help out with that, and so it's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
To help actually build the church.
Do you enjoy being part of a community too? I mean, you've always been part of a community.
Absolutely, and one that is going to be there every single week.
Yeah.
Every week you go, they're there.
Yeah.
And so are you.
Yeah.
That's
and you're all different flavors of who knows what.
It's a very interesting church in that it's not based in it's a geographically, obviously anything is based geographically, but there's a large Warsaw contingent. There, like, people come from all over to come to St. Mary's. It's not like a local church.
Right.
It is a region. I guess I'd call it a regional church.
Yeah.
And St. Mary's, from what I understand, and I am like by no means.
They're a year. Right. Yeah.
Like, I don't know a whole lot
Yeah.
about the state of the Orthodox Church in America, how many there are. I know there are different flavors of it.
Yeah.
Like there's the Antiochian, and then there's some others. But apparently there's people really think highly of St. Mary's and what has been created there and the unique mix of people.
That's cool.
And for like a church its size to be doing what it's doing within the Orthodox community, it's seen as being a powerful, like,
that's awesome.
Powerful church. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
From what I understand.
Yeah. Well, and you're experiencing
Absolutely.
it. So
Absolutely.
that's part of it too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that's fascinating. So 20 years off and then coming back to this. It was just relationship that brought you, really? Going to
friends of mine went there.
Yeah.
That's a good darn question.
Yeah, we're going deep. Right away.
Just needed something different.
Yeah.
Just needed to be like, okay, what am I doing wrong? Like I'm doing something wrong. I'm going to go try this out and see, like, I like what these people are doing. Like, I see these people, I see their lives, and it's like, oh, dang. Like, these people love their families. They, like, love their community. Like, I want to be around that.
Yeah.
I want to be around people that are, like, have hope, I would say.
Yeah.
See, there's a lot of like despair in the world.
Yeah.
And like places where people are investing in children and like community and family, and it's like, oh, they actually have hope.
That's a beautiful thing.
They're not like just hating themselves.
Right. Or just like, it's done. We're done.
Right.
Or it's over. Yeah.
Right.
There's
Okay.
nothing-
All right. Well, let's all give up.
Yeah. There is that. There's that air, like, to just be done. I felt that before. I think that, my generation has really felt. I've sensed it a lot. Mm-hmm. It's like, you got to see hope in any situation. That's a really helpful thing.
Oh yeah.
Like,
it's hard. It's hard for me.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to see it. I mean, like, it's all depressing. Like.
Yeah. To be real.
To be real, yeah. It's just, but you got to have some kind of hope. I mean, like, what else you got?
Right.
We're just doing what every other freaking species on Earth does.
Yeah.
Just trying to survive.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
And it's a grind. It's such a grind.
Joe. And you have to, like, pick and choose what your grind is, too. Like, some lady called me yesterday, and was asking me about, electrical work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, I got your number. I'm like, oh, great. Oh, what are you doing? She's like, oh, I need this. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. It's like, oh, we need this fence hooked up. I'm up on State Road 4. I was like, oh, I love farms. I was like, sure, I'd love that. She's like, well, we're a business. I'm like, oh, well, what do you do? She's like, well, we're a transport company. I was like, oh, God, you're not putting in an RV parking lot, are you? I was like, I'm out. And she was like, what?
Yeah.
I don't know.
They're everywhere.
It just, like, makes me sad.
Yeah. No, I feel the same thing. And then when the industry busts, is just going to be empty parking lots.
Yeah.
Overgrown, empty parking lots.
Right. What are you going to do with like a whole thing of packed gravel?
Yeah.
What are you going to do with that?
You can't grow anything on it.
No, it's dead.
You can't, yeah. I've seen that over and over and over. It's sad to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's crazy. Well,
it's like salting the earth.
Yeah. Like, let's just kill everything. And there's been beautiful stuff that's like, we're in a lush area. We've got great soil, and then you just pack it full of stone.
I mean, this was like, I was just talking with Brian Whirlidge and somebody else, and Cody Holiday and Daniel Wilson, a mint farmer from down in Kosciuszko who goes to our church. Got to go check this out.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Does he do it for like gum and stuff?
Yeah. Colgate Palmolive, Wrigley. Like,
no way.
They make their own mint oil still.
What?
Yeah, legit. They're actually going to start stilling the mint here soon. And I'm going to go down and see it. I'm very excited.
Oh, that's so cool.
So, but we were talking about the Great Kankakee Marsh, which was
from my in-laws live in DeMont, which is like Kankakee Central. They drained it in World War II, right around then or something.
Dishes and tiles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like the Everglades of the Midwest is what they called it.
That's what we were talking about. Yeah, and it was insane.
Every type of bird species and all this stuff, and it's gone.
It was rich.
It was
filthy rich with like just natural resources.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, we can do better than that. Watch this, corn. Like, wow.
Every third year, soybeans.
Wow, yeah. All right.
Oh, let's go crazy.
I think
you used to go to like almost Napanee, I think, or it was pretty like from almost Chicago to Napanee.
Yeah, it was huge.
Lengthwise.
It was huge.
Yeah. It was just marshland and.
Yeah, I was like up in Michigan today, and there's this one valley, like you come into. It's up south of Decatur.
Okay.
And you just go down and you hit this valley, and it's just black soil. It's beautiful. We have some of that around here too. Yeah. There's that one. There's like that little valley out east of Goshen that when you go out in, it like dips down, and then you look out.
Butts Lake, I think, maybe not.
It's around that area.
Yeah.
Maybe a little further south. I don't remember, but yeah, you go down into this like long straightaway in this a bit of a valley, and it's just black soil, and you're just like,
this is nice.
Yeah, it is nice.
In Syracuse, I've seen that in Syracuse a little bit too. There's some like marshlands and stuff.
Well, it's just fascinating how like the soil types can differ like within hundreds of yards, just basically where these glaciers like deposited different deposits of soil or sediment or whatever over the years.
Yeah.
And
got clay, sand.
Yeah, you go a little bit this way. There's like down working like we're all pretty much sandy down here.
Yeah.
Thankfully, despite your basement issues, like we do have pretty good drainage up here. We're on the higher ground.
Yeah.
All right.
Goshen is known for its floods.
It is down there.
Down there, right?
Down there, right? We're up
here.
We're on the high ground.
Yeah.
And I was working down by the college, and there's just like this pocket down the Grayroy neighborhood, and these people, they're building a new house, and it was solid clay.
Whoa, wow.
Yeah, it's just like, what, 2 miles?
Yeah, that's not very far at all.
No.
Yeah, blocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild. Well, I mean, for the listeners at home, you do electrical work, right?
I sling copper in artistic and craftsmanlike manners.
It is a song and dance, and it is a like.
It's interesting.
You are doing things. It's problem solving. I've seen you at work.
Yeah.
It's you are just making things come together.
Yeah, I was talking with this HVAC guy on a job today, and I can't remember what we were really talking about, but we're just like, yep, every day you come to work and you have to solve another problem.
Yeah.
You're always going to find something new.
Yeah. Totally different each time.
You got to make it work.
It's a big puzzle.
It's it's like playing with Legos, really.
Yeah.
Except you hurt your body. You don't step on the Lego. You just get like carpal tunnel after like 10 years. You're like, oh shit.
When did you start doing? Was that something you just did? Like, well, how?
That's a good question.
I got so many questions, but we'll go there.
Back it up.
Yeah, back it up. We could even start before that.
Oh,
you want to do that? Were you always a Goshen resident? All right, let me even go before. All right, even farther. When I think Goshen, I think of you.
Oh, come on.
For a lot of reasons. Just because you are community oriented, you garden, you are a craftsman. There's all these things, and you're well connected.
Yeah.
And I think there's just something to that. And so you're like who I would want every Goshen person to be like. Always different. They're all a little like flavored.
Don't listen to him.
Yeah. But for real, you are like you have the essence, I think, which is a beautiful thing. So how'd you get here, and how'd that come about?
I was born and raised.
Okay.
Yeah, my parents were Both from Lancaster. My mom actually grew up in the Bronx in New
wow.
York City. Her father was a pastor, a Mennonite pastor in the Bronx, a cab driver by day, pastor by night. And they were mostly in the Bronx, but they bounced around. But both my parents were born in Lancaster. And they met because my dad went to New York City to the inner city church from their church, like their youth group.
So you're like, yeah, okay, yeah.
So like inner city experience at a inner city church.
Yeah.
And
a week long, something probably, or
met
whatever.
my mom, and they were on the Staten Island Ferry, and they started writing letters back and forth after that.
Oh.
So that's, yeah. And that's why I'm here now. So my dad went to Goshen College. My mom went to Heston.
Okay.
And he stayed after they got married. He just stayed here. So they're still around. My dad's over every day.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I think I've met him. He was picking cherries one time.
That sounds like my dad.
Yeah. That's so cool.
It is, yeah. So, yeah, born and raised here. And then I went to Purdue.
Okay.
Got an associate's degree in electrical engineering technology. And then pieced out.
Yeah.
I went AWOL for a while.
Yeah.
5 years in New Orleans, as well as
No
California. I was a musician, or I don't know. It was the Bohemian lifestyle.
Yeah.
Traveling in veggie oil powered buses and
No way.
and like underground circuses. We'd play at like vegan punk squats and art collectives and
That's so sick.
random warehouses in the middle of Austin or
Yeah.
Portland, Seattle. Just
really like granola grungy.
it was wild. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stayed in squats that were like burned out.
No way.
Yeah, I did a bicycle tour with a band.
You guys biked to each location?
Yeah, we went from Eugene, Oregon to Bellingham, Washington, and back. It was around 2,000 to 3,000 miles, totally traveled.
Word.
Yeah, so we did that over 2 months. That was the Sour Mash Hug Band back in like 2008. Is that right? 9? It was 9 or 10, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So had all our instruments. We were a 9-piece.
Wow.
And we just bicycled all over the Pacific Northwest, playing shows at farmers markets and bars, and
Yeah.
whoever wanted us. It was great. I mean, it was a tour that was planned ahead.
Right.
We just went, and it was bare bones. We had no money. It was fantastic.
And you just living.
Went hiking.
What instrument did you play?
I am trained on the violin classically through the Suzuki program here, and then so mainly violin. But I also played drum when I was down in New Orleans, marching bass drum. Okay. I played in Dixieland bands and Eastern European string bands. And violin, I played in Ukrainian folk punk band. That was the biggest band I was in, and that was a wild time. We played lots of fun shows. Yeah. Yeah, it was cool.
That's awesome. Well, I know you have a love for music,
Yeah.
And so I've seen that.
Yeah.
I understand that.
I don't play enough anymore. I'm still teaching a little though.
Okay.
Yeah, I have Chris Colot's daughter Phoebe.
Okay.
She's been coming over once a week and
just showing her a little on how to do it.
It's mainly to keep her because I'm just like her. Like I hated to practice. I'm like, oh, did you practice this week? And she's like, well, and I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
Like
this
let's
is
have
your
some
hour of
exactly.
Yeah.
Let's have some fun. Like keep it in your fingers.
Mm-hmm.
Keeps it in my fingers too. It helps.
Yeah. It's a language.
It is. I ain't getting better at it, but yeah, it is. It totally is, man. Like if you can figure out somebody else's music, you don't need to speak their language. They will invite you into their homes, to their world. They will consider you an honorary member of their society if you can speak that language. It's amazing. Like I have been places where people just you just sit down and start jamming with them in their
world. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it opens.
Yeah.
Oh Lord, it opens doors.
You may not even be able to communicate, but they're just like you can communicate.
Absolutely.
That's cool.
It's beautiful. And I can't speak them all because there's so many different styles of music, and some are just incredibly hard.
Yeah.
But, once you get the basics of it, a lot of it's very rudimentary. So
yeah, it's patterns.
It's all patterns.
Figure out what that pattern is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I play a little bit, but not anything too crazy. I haven't traveled in a vegetable oil van. I love that. Did you guys just go like to McDonald's and say, "Hey, do you have any used vegetable oil? Can we throw it in the back or stuff like that?" Or
we would go to restaurants, stuff like that, and pump it out. Yeah.
That's the way to do it, you know.
Oh God, I would never do it again. It's horrible.
Because you probably have to strain it and then put it in.
Oh, it's so messy.
Is it really? Yeah.
I did it once with a girlfriend years ago too. It was like we had a little veggie oil rabbit.
Okay.
And we went down to that was how I got down to Louisiana the first time. We had. She came back from some music camp, huh?
Did you make it, or did you just buy it, the veggie oil rabbit, or did you like convert it?
She was converting it when I first met her, and then I helped her like develop it. We made fiberglass storage tanks and stuff, and I had done some fiberglassing before, so we just started making tanks and all sorts of stuff so that we could process on the road.
Cool.
In this little car. Nightmare. I mean, sometimes. Most of the time it was fine, but it's messy and it stinks.
Yeah.
So she had come back from a music camp and learned some Cajun music, and we were like, "Oh, this is fun. We want to travel. Let's go learn some Cajun music down south." So we went down, and I think I looked up Cajun band on whatever Google was at the time or whatever.
Right.
Ask Jeeves or whatever was around in like
Bing
2005. Yeah, 2004.
Cha-cha. You would text it. Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
Okay, never mind.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe that was just my,
So I emailed this person in a Cajun band. I was like, "Hey, where should we go if we want to go learn Cajun music down in Louisiana?" And they're like, "Oh, talk to this place." And so it was the Blue Moon Saloon and Guest House. And Catherine Scheffler, if you ever watch this, she's one of the best people I have ever met in my life.
Kathleen Shetler.
Catherine Scheffler. Comu is actually her married name.
Okay.
But she and Mark, I can't remember his name, but they ran the Blue Moon Saloon and Guest House, which is still going to this day.
Wow.
Which is like a cultural hotspot in Lafayette, Louisiana. And it was a hostel, and the back porch was a saloon with a dance floor. And so we worked there. We stayed and worked just running the hostel. So we would check in guests. We would make the beds. We'd clean the toilets. We'd make sure the kitchen's clean. And met all sorts of people from all over the world, and they would come there, and it was during Mardi Gras too. So that was my first Mardi Gras was in Lafayette.
Oh my word!
It wasn't in New Orleans; it was out in Cajun country.
Yeah,
and
was it wild? I'm sure.
Oh, it was amazing. And we were every Wednesday night was a Cajun jam. Every week there were like now Grammy award winning artists coming to that establishment, and they lived down the block, like the Pine Leaf Boys, who are like an up and coming band at the time, Cajun band, like the next generation upcoming.
Yeah.
They just lived a couple houses down the way, and so they would come over to the jams on Wednesday night. So we were learning from like some of the best musicians of that era.
That's where they're cutting their teeth in a way, right?
Oh well, they grew up on it.
Yeah.
They weren't cutting their teeth. They were like hitting their stride,
Okay.
So we were learning from them and just met so many amazing people within that community because we both played violin. We were learning the language.
Wow.
So that opened doors too. And then, so we were there for like 2 months and just met so many people. It was a beautiful, beautiful time.
Wow.
And we left and came back to Indiana, moved to Bloomington. We split up and I went back. This was right after Katrina.
Wow.
Or I hate calling it Katrina because it's really the failure of the levee system. Like that
was the issue.
Right.
It wasn't the hurricane. It was
not the
infrastructure.
It was infrastructure failure. So go Army Corps of Engineers. Woo. Sorry.
Just think of Kanye telling everyone that George Bush hates black people. Classic.
God bless Kanye.
Yeah, God bless Kanye.
Well, God bless everybody.
Yes, 100%.
So
you go after that then, after Katrina. So you're back.
I went back down there. Me and my buddy hitchhiked down. That was a cool trip too. Yeah, ended up in a lazy boy on the back of a truck, going down the Natchez Trace Parkway, and he and I would switch back and forth. It was like this random couple from Alabama or Mississippi or something who were coming back from their mom's funeral or something. They had her lazy boy.
Oh, wow.
And they didn't even have enough gas money to get home, so we gave them some money, and they let us just like...
chill in the back.
Yeah, chill in the back of the truck. And so we got to do the Natchez Trace Parkway.
In a lazy boy.
Backwards. The whole way. It was beautiful. Oh, yeah, that was a good hitchhike. And then they let us stay the night at their house too. And,
Oh, that's cool.
You know, with like the Confederate flag Bowie knife on the mantle, eating green beans out of a can, baby. That was
No.
yeah. Actually, only time I've ever been called an environmentalist in a derogatory tone.
Really?
Well, I mean, he was like, we're sitting there eating dinner. You know, it's like we just met these people, and they're like, y'all are some of them environmentalists, and I was like, well, sir, I care about the environment in which I live. So, yes. I was like, do you care about the environment in which you live? Yeah. Okay. And I think I confused them enough that we just moved on to the next subject. You know, luckily it was all good.
But that was environmentalist. That's yeah, that's fascinating.
It was very interesting. Yeah. So then we ended up back there, and that was they were packed because of everybody had left New Orleans, and there was no hotels within like 500 miles.
Gotcha.
So every hostel, any bed that was available within
FEMA
500
camps,
miles,
all that stuff.
You got it. It was crazy. So yeah, we had FEMA people who were working for FEMA living at the hostel.
Wow.
And, you know, we had like a bunk room upstairs that was like 12, 15 bunks, and then there was smaller bunk rooms, but like there was only a couple spots available. So my buddy and I started working there and just helping out because they needed a lot of help because, well, there's a lot of bodies in there. So we were washing laundry, just doing the same thing again. And I met this artist from New Orleans, Amesy Adams, who's like, if you ever think of a person who epitomizes a character or like an archetype or something, it's this guy. Like, he dresses like Sergeant Pepper.
Okay.
He wears a top hat with an eyeball on it.
Okay.
Sunglasses that have snakes in them.
Oh, wow.
And like, that's him. There's murals of him now in New Orleans. Like,
oh, wow. Yeah, so he's an artist.
Yeah, he's in the Ken Burns documentary on New Orleans.
Oh, wow.
They interviewed him. And I was like tangentially, I'm in the Ken Burns documentary.
No way.
Yeah. I mean, not like, they didn't interview me or nothing,
right,
but like there's a video of me playing in his band in Jackson Square.
Wow.
In the New Orleans Ken Burns documentary. Just random shit, right? I don't know how it happened, but
you were just there at the time and it just did.
Yeah. So I met him there when he had evacuated, and he was like,
he's out of New Orleans. He was living there.
And I played violin, and he was like, hey, play music with me. My band left.
Wow.
I was like, do you want to come back? You can stay in my place. And it was a total roach-infested shithole, but in one of the most amazing neighborhoods ever.
This is now in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after that, and we were going to go to California. We weren't going to go to New Orleans. We were just kind of stopping in.
Yeah, because you'd known it, you'd been there, and then,
I'd never been to California.
Oh, I'm sorry, Lafayette.
Oh, actually, yes, we were down in Lafayette.
Right, and then you were going to go to California.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'd been once out there to Didgeridoo Festival. Hippie.
100%.
Yeah. So
Hippie.
Out in Joshua Tree, that was actually a lot of fun.
Went to Joshua Tree last Christmas, and it was beautiful. 29 Palms is where we stayed.
Yeah.
It was a little less crazy than Joshua. It was a bit less packed, and I could get in and out. And we were there when it blizzarded.
No,
it was crazy.
You saw snow there?
Yeah, it was. I got trapped in the park. I couldn't get out of the park because it blizzarded. It was sweet. I'm like, I tried to get away from the snow.
Right. Well, the desert gets cold, man.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
But it's just weird that it's cold and wet at the same time. Like,
it was a freak phenomenon.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is sweet. I'm here.
Like, oh, yeah, I went to Joshua Tree and it snowed. You didn't snow for you? Yeah. Weird.
Yeah.
That wasn't my experience.
Yeah.
100% snow.
And then God spoke to me. It was great.
Yeah.
That's classic Joshua.
I came down from like...
There were UFOs.
It was like tablets and everything. It was great.
Tablets, yeah. Yeah, the 6 and 9.
Yeah, like, were those acid tablets?
Yeah. I saw a couple of those vans out in the desert. There's just...
Oh, people are
just chilling out there. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to... I'd go back and forth to California and New Orleans sometimes, and on road trips, I would just pull off into the desert and just camp out at night. It's beautiful,
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and no one's out there.
Nobody's getting...
No one's caring.
Nobody wants to mess with you.
Yeah. Yeah, most people are just passing on through. You want another one? I'm about to get another one.
You know what? It's Friday.
Yeah, that's where I'm at, too.
I'm about 1 pound of blueberries. On the way down, I bought like 40 pounds of blueberries.
Fresh picked?
Yeah.
Those are the hands down best is when you just right off the vine. And that's with anything.
Yeah.
That's with anything.
I'm kind of sad because, like, normally I go out and pick. And then I asked them the price difference. I'm like, well, how much is it per pound for if I pick it? And they're like, $2.99. I was like, well, how much is a 10-pound box? And they're like, $32. And I was like, that's the same.
Yeah.
It's like $3.20 a pound for a box of frozen blueberries. I'm like,
right.
I'm just going to buy your frozen blueberries.
Right.
I'm just going to go
Save
home.
my time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I saved $3 and it took me 2 hours to do
exactly.
this. Right?
No, it ain't happening. I'm done. I don't have to wash them or nothing.
Yeah.
This is great.
This is good.
Wait, where were we?
All right, so you were in New Orleans playing music.
Yeah, so
you
I
were
was,
going to go to California.
Oh, I did go to California many times.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, down in New Orleans, I was a street performer. I would play by myself a lot.
Okay.
Out on the street, just me and my violin. That's how I started. And then as I got into bands and stuff, I started.
Is that busking? Is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah. And then as I got into bands, I started playing with just lots of bands and stuff.
That is the boho life.
It's
The
totally
busking.
bohemian life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I got involved in a lot of weird like art projects and stuff. Just random art projects. It was great. You know, making floats and puppet shows and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. So how did you get back to Goshen then? Like, let's bring this all the way back.
Oh yeah, how did I get back to Goshen? I just kind of was like, I can't. This isn't my life.
Yeah.
I think
it's probably fun, but you're going from thing to thing, and you're kind of like.
I had a bad band breakup essentially, and it was like, well, I guess I'm either starting over with another band, or I knew I could come back here and get right back on the farms. I also over the years. When I was here, I started working on a lot of the small organic farms in the area.
Okay, like Clay Bottom
Blue Heron, Sustainable Greens. So, like, that's where I got my love for farming. My dad's always been an amazing gardener.
Yeah.
You know, but, like, I hated it when I was a kid.
Right.
So,
yeah, you're picking weeds and...
Yeah, like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, give me some Cheetos.
Yeah.
Where's that corn at?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
we drained the Kankakee for this.
Exactly. We drained the Kankakee for Cheetos, and all I get is raspberries. Come on, man.
Come on. Not fair trade.
Exactly. So, so over the years, I had worked on a lot of the different farms. Like when I first got back from college, I was working at the Maple City Market for a year.
Okay.
And then I moved into working on these little farms in the area.
And that's a good connection hub. I love Maple City Market, and they bring in a lot of local produce.
They do. Absolutely.
And so I can see how you would start connecting with that.
Yeah, so that was my first foray into like organic agriculture and how to grow things, just like how to produce food in ways that are somewhat sustainable or at least intelligent. I mean, like actual food, not like industrial product,
right?
Fodder,
monocrop, right?
Exactly.
It's
So working the farmers markets and just working the fields, and it was one of the biggest formative aspects of my life. Just learning how to work the land day in day out, being a farm laborer. You know, it gives me a lot of respect for the people that actually go out and do that shit their whole lives. You know,
right? Especially
in non-organic, like people dealing with like pesticides and herbicides and all that shit.
Oh yeah,
it's interesting. So I've through the church, I've been meeting more younger farmers that like this Daniel Wilson guy who farms the mint, and just having conversations with him, and he's like talking about these conversations that happen within the greater farming community, like these 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 acre farms, which is kind of a standard size these days.
Yeah, there's none of these mom and pops anymore. It's
increasingly
millions
going
of dollars to get even in.
Oh yeah, you're talking just price per acre is insane. So I mean, I can't really talk to modern ag because I'm not in it, and I'm glad because it's it seems like a very vicious cycle of like I hate to be a Debbie Downer, right? But like it's not sustainable. Like,
no.
And I was sending him an article the other day about the phosphorus mines in Morocco. And, we got the NPK ratio. Like, they figured out that if you add, like, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, right, like, plants grow big.
Yes.
Man, grow big plant.
Yeah.
Get much food. So that's what we do. But that requires an infinite supply of inputs in order to create a somewhat infinite supply of outputs. But
Right.
that is not the case. And it gets increasingly hard to find those things and get them to put them on the fields. And then we end up with like dead zones in the oceans and algae
The runoff
blooms and like look at Lake Erie. Lake Erie is just jacked right now.
Yeah.
I mean, the hypoxic dead zones all over the earth are just mind blowing. Like how much we're putting in.
Yeah.
It's insane. So,
when I was in Florida, there was the red algae issue, and it was just red algae all and just droves of it, and then fish, and then from that these bugs that came from it. It was just
it's nasty.
Yeah, it was
and it's
so
toxic.
gross.
You can't even swim in it.
Yeah, we weren't allowed on the beaches.
Like red algae warning.
Yeah.
You're like, what?
Yeah.
I'm here for the ocean, bro.
Yeah.
Like spring break.
Yeah. No, they don't care. Yeah.
There's the sargassum that there's like these big seaweed blooms, like these big floating mats of seaweed that are just like sucking up all the nutrients and loving it and washing ashore on all these islands and just killing local tourism and whatnot. Not that I'm a big fan of tourism, but I could go into that, but we don't have to right now. I digress. We'll
but
get
you're
back
talking with these big farmers, and what would
it's just all unsustainable. Like there has to be an end or a change.
Yeah.
There's no other way.
Well, what they say, we have 60 years left of topsoil, if that, left, and the nutrients in this topsoil.
Right. It's like it's not. It's all extractive.
Or
it's kind of like. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, even look at obesity rates and just people that what they're eating is. We're feeding way more people, but we're dying.
We're not feeding people.
How
would you describe that?
Yes and no, right?
It's like,
we're feeding them, but it's garbage.
If you don't give them food, what are you actually doing?
Yeah.
I think
waste runoff. Enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like we've been looking big into the vegetable oils, right? And how much it's in everything.
Yeah, seed oils.
Seed oils
is bad.
It's very rough. Yeah, it is crazy. And then, so that's just it's in everything. You can't get away from it.
It is. You can. It's in everything.
It's in everything. And so it's just like, and what was that? Well, they didn't know what to do with it. It was a waste byproduct. Right. Oh, and they're like, okay, well, what we're gonna do with this?
Yeah.
And it's just like,
well, so phosphorus in the United States, there's they mine it in Florida, right?
Okay.
And they have this waste product. I think it's called phosphogypsum, which is radioactive. And they have these huge piles of this radioactive phosphogypsum or whatever, right? And they're trying to make it legal to use it as an additive in roadways to dispose of it. They want to put it in the roads, bro. They want to have like radioactive roads.
And then when it rains, where does that go? Right into the drinking water.
It's
Yeah,
fine.
don't even ask. Don't ask the questions. Yeah. Don't filter your water.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't put a tinfoil hat on. Don't.
Yeah. It's all good.
Let's not talk about Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's wild.
By the way, you have great Wi-Fi in this house.
Yeah. Thank you.
No, I don't know. I didn't check.
Really connects with the.
Right.
100%. My third eye opens when I walk in and hit the Wi-Fi.
Get that 5G gigahertz going on. All right. So
how'd you get back to Goshen?
I had that band breakup, and I was just done. I'm like, okay. Like in New Orleans, like I'm a little Mennonite boy, right?
Yeah.
Like my idea of fun was getting up on Saturday morning and unicycling to the farmer's market. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go get some grapefruit. You know? I would literally like unicycle like 3 miles with a backpack on.
Yeah.
And this funny ass farmer, Mr. Timmy Paraloo, this Cajun ass coon ass farmer. His delight in life was like giving me the biggest, heaviest like rutabaga or something he could find, just so I would have to carry it.
Oh God.
He was like, "Here you go," and I'm like, "Oh, geez, that's huge." And he's like, "I knew you'd like it," and I'm just like, "Oh God."
Off to the farmer's market.
Mama and Papa, their honey stand. I miss that little downtown farmer's market.
That's cool.
So and New Orleans is a very up all night, and there's lots of drugs. And like it's just, and I've never been like, I'm a consumptive. I'll drink my beer,
right?
I'll take a toot, but like the hard stuff, there's a lot of that down there.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying my friends and like that group is like let's just say I've known a lot of people who have died since I left. I knew people who died when I was there. Like it's fucking tragic. But
and especially now they're putting stuff in. Like you know, maybe 10, 15 years ago you could do cocaine and it was cocaine. Now you don't know what's in it.
I don't know. I've never done cocaine.
Yeah,
but yeah.
But I know that everything is now laced. It has the higher probability of it being laced with fentanyl or whatnot. And it's just,
Yeah. Well, and I think just the culture of like being up at night at bars drinking.
Yeah.
And then staying up till like 3, 4 in the morning. Yeah. It's just like, it gets old, you know, and I was never good at it.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't that guy. And that was part of the culture. If you wanted to be a musician, it's part of that. And there are a lot of very successful musicians from my generation that didn't go down that path, and they have solid careers. They're some of the best musicians in New Orleans. They are like doing very, very well and are just freaking rocking it, you know, but like I don't know. It was just, I think
that's not the culture though, as a general. Probably
it's
not.
A party culture.
Yeah.
It's just a party culture, you know, and like I couldn't hang, honestly. Like, so I like to be up in the mornings, and that's just there. It's a nighttime culture, and I'm a morning guy.
Yeah.
So you see,
rubs the front, rub.
Yeah, and I mean, it was a wonderful time, and it was beautiful, and there was like so many. I can't make these stories up. If I were to like start recounting some of the stuff I went through down there, it was all it was like very positive.
Yeah.
You know, like, just like, never have I been in a place where so much serendipity happened all the time. Like that place has, it is a force. It's a force. And I don't feel like it chewed me up and spit me out, but like I couldn't hang necessarily.
Yeah.
So, you know, I came back here and started working on a farm. I went straight to Clay Bottom, lived in their barn for a year, and then they were like, "We got to get another intern." I was like, "What? I got to go?" And they're like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh shit." So it was probably good. And then I started renting my house.
Okay.
So I rented my house for a year, and that's when I joined the electrical company, Shekinah, over in Elkhart.
Okay.
So I guess that's like a solid 10 years ago. And just to have a job, right? I was like, oh, I need a job.
Yeah.
You know? And when I was a kid, my dad, in high school, he started taking us into the factory after hours because he would do piece rate down at Terra Transit. He worked in the bus factory down in Paris.
Yeah.
That's where he retired from after like 30-some years.
When you go over the hill, right?
You got it.
No,
yeah,
exactly.
Turtle Top, Terra Transit. Yeah. So he was contracted to do, what do you call it? He would do the ACs, like the condensers and the compressors. So he would hang them and, you know, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But he would do it piece rate after hours. So he would hire us to come in.
Do some of it.
And help him after hours. So in high school, like when I was like 15, 16, I was already starting to make money working in the factory, learning how to use tools.
Yeah.
And then by the time I hit college, I was working there every summer. So I paid for college by coming home every summer and working in the factory, learning how to use tools, learning how to build things, learning how to like fix things.
Realizing this sucked so bad, I'm sure.
Not too bad. I'm a pretty happy-go-lucky kind of guy.
Yeah.
The people there are really good, and it wasn't one of those fast-paced factories
you weren't going
where
hard
everybody was like raging. You know, it wasn't the. I kind of wish it were like Amish precision because that would have been cool too.
Yeah.
You know, like just like these guys that are just like singing about Jesus while they're like going nuts building RVs.
Yeah. Gotta go to Millbury for that.
Yeah, exactly.
In Paris, but
exactly. But it was a wonderful culture, and the company, the Cripes and the owners were really supportive. And my parents' friends, they went to 8th Street. My dad got a job from Dick Cripe, who went to the same church as them.
That's cool.
So my parents were friends with the Cripe. Dick actually just died this last year. I think he was like in his 80s or 90s. And I got a scholarship from the Cripe Family Foundation all those years ago to go to college.
Wow.
I mean, it didn't pay for a lot, but it was awesome. You know, I'm like, oh, thank you. So, and I learned how to use tools, and I made money and paid for college, which you could apparently do back then. I mean, I worked, 40 hours a week and was there every morning at 6, and that was my summer. I didn't really have
hang out and do stuff.
I wasn't lazy in the summers. I worked every single day every summer. So, and I had like a budget. I think it was like $30 a week. Like that's what I could keep. Wow. I could go out and like I could go to a movie with my buddies.
Yeah. Get some popcorn.
Get some popcorn, whatever, and everything else went to college.
Wow.
And that was my summer.
Wow.
And it was great. I loved it.
Yeah.
So that's where I learned how to use. Sorry, I keep doing the thing.
I know, that's okay.
But that's where I learned how to use tools. So that was one of the best educations I ever got.
Just getting in there and doing it.
Yeah.
Learning.
It served me well. Like I know how to like operate equipment, So then I got the job, fast forward, to the electrical work and had a great journeyman, John Graber. Our styles differ, but he was very instrumental in helping me get into the electrical field, and I worked with him every day. And even after I left that company, he ended up leaving the company and coming to work for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's pretty cool.
That's cool.
We still work together sometimes.
Yeah,
randomly. But, actually, he got me a job working for the mayor of Elkhart, like, over the past month here. So
that's cool.
Yeah. John is very well connected in Elkhart within a lot of different communities, and it's really cool. So it, like, opens doors that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a good man.
That's cool.
John Graber, you're a good man.
Yeah, shout out to John.
If he's in Brazil, maybe I'll send this to him and he can listen to it and maybe he'll watch it. He's always sending me videos of like people playing music on the street in Brazil. He's down there right now. So yeah.
That's cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure he has flexibility. That's the nice thing is when you...
Well, he's getting retired age.
Oh, okay.
He's like...
I'm out. Yeah.
Well, not totally out.
But yeah.
But yeah, he's out.
You're a good man, John Graber.
You're a good man. So so that was the start of my electrical career, and then bada bing, bada boom, here I am. So after a year of renting, I went on land contract, and I've been doing that for a solid decade. So instead of owing a bank money, I owe this really kick-ass guy money that has helped me out with the house. And
that's cool, and eventually it'll be yours.
Oh yeah,
right? That's the land contract.
5 years left.
Wow, that's so cool.
It feels good.
Oh, that's so cool.
Right?
Yeah. That's a cool way to do it.
It is.
And it's your property. And you've done a ton of stuff to it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I love what you've done. I mean,
thank you.
For those who've never been, well, I don't suggest that you go, but it is such a, I mean, you need to stop by, but I'm not going to tell them where you live. But
it's that way.
It's that way. It is, you've got like almost all of it gardened out, except for your patio and your pizza oven.
Uh-huh.
And then you've got in the back, your office, which is also
in the barn. Yeah,
in the barn. I love that.
Yeah. So to preface for the, I guess there's an audience.
Yeah.
I have an 1888 Victorian that was owned by the former mayor of Goshen. So it's a big old money pit that was turned into. I was going to get into this a little bit, but it was turned into 3 apartments. So basically a wealth extraction model. And I was gonna tie that in with essentially how we treat the land. It's a wealth extraction model. Yeah, like we are extracting wealth from the planet, but we're not really putting much back in. And it happens a lot with these rentals in the neighborhood.
A lot of these old houses.
They
break them into.
Well, they became rich people built them, and then they decided they wanted more land in the country / white flight. And they pieced out and they went out to the suburbs so they could have their, integrated schools. Yeah. Right. Separate but equal. So I don't fucking know what to call it. Like, uh-oh.
Just us and the Amish.
Weird around
Just
here.
us and the Amish now.
Exactly. So, they pieced out. And then they split them up and rented them out. Yeah. And then over the years, wealth was extracted from the properties. Yeah. Without putting anything back into them.
Oh yeah, they're just pits at some point. They're
They're disgusting. I mean, then
the brick house that's on your street, which is now where Bill lives.
Oh yeah,
and I mean, it's coming back. Yeah, but at one point that was a dark area.
There was a lot of shenanigans going on over there.
You feel a rough presence over there. It's like I didn't want to walk there at night. I didn't feel very comfortable over there. Now I know. No, it's fine.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, no, it's totally changed. The atmosphere's changed.
And, interestingly enough, like, the people that lived there, I mean, they had been there for 20, years.
Wow.
Some of the people that lived in that apartment complex. But I just ran into one of them, Cindy. She had got to been there like 20 years. She and Mitch. And I ran into her downtown over at the window like 2 months ago, and she was talking about how bad it was because people who sold drugs just kept coming because they knew they could sell drugs there. And so there were like all sorts of people addicted. And sometimes all it takes is you take somebody out of a place and move them to an entirely different place where they don't have access, or it's just like they're not in the scene, and it changes their life entirely because suddenly they're not in the same cycles.
Community.
It breaks those cycles. And she said for her and Mitch, like that's what it took was to get them out of there. And they're doing great now.
Wow.
They're doing great.
That's cool.
Yeah. They moved to like Shipshawana or something.
No way.
Right? Right? They've got a house there. They're doing great.
Hard to find drugs there. I mean, maybe. I don't know. I wouldn't know.
How do you think those factories move so fast?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, Rum Spring is coming in. So, so yeah, it was a hard place, but like that they definitely had their struggles in that house, and luckily, you know, Chris came in and was very patient and worked really hard to help those people find other places.
Yeah,
it was not easy. That was during the pandemic.
Oh yeah,
that place was offered to me for $90,000, no money down, land contract. I could have bought that.
Wow,
it's just not my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. But my vision of these places is to see cooperatives formed where people would own, and it's a very utopian vision, but it's very hard to realize stuff like that because, I mean, everything's just expensive. It's hard to maintain a property.
Yeah.
It's hard. Like we've worked ourselves into a model in which a two income family is the norm, which is why housing costs have gone up so much because we've essentially socially engineered two income families that's baked into the pricing of a house.
Yeah.
Like you have to have two earners
to have a house.
Yeah. Like,
and
I'm
what are you doing
lucky
the whole time? You're not even there. You know what I mean? If you're both working, what's the point of even having a house?
You gotta have a place to shit.
Yeah. It is nice.
I don't know about you. I got like 2 spots.
Yeah. My Gucci spot and my, every day of my work.
Exactly.
I gotta work.
I don't want to offend
There's the place that I have my squatty potty and the place I don't.
Dude, bidets. Have you talked about bidets on the podcast?
I've heard great things. I've used them before and they are nice, but I don't have one. Tell me about it.
$40. Go to Menards. Pick yourself up the little wand on a wall. Okay. And it plumbs right into your thing, and you wash your butt. Bam, that's it. And I swear, it's
Does
easy.
it cut back on toilet paper?
We don't have toilet paper anymore.
Oh, my goodness. No way. Okay. Yeah.
Well, actually, we do. But we don't really need it.
Right, yeah. It's for those who don't know about the bidet. Right.
You wash your butt with water instead of rubbing a dead tree on it. It's so great. I'll never go back.
Yeah. Did you take your house and have to like rebuild or dismantle it when it was 3 different apartments or 3 different living spaces? Did you have to kind of like reinvent it or undo some of the stuff that was there?
There were walls that had been built in there that were before, so I took those out. I mean, they had just been just walkways. Yeah. You know? And I was like, oh, wait, I think this is actually an opening, or was. And sure enough, it was. I've done a lot to that house. Yeah. Like, I've made it my own, but it is a far cry from what it originally was. So, like, because it had been turned into 3 apartments, it kind of gave me free reign on a blank slate. Because, like, historic homes, sometimes you're just like, I don't want to change it because, like, I want to keep it historically accurate. But when you have a house that's been totally changed, you kind of have the freedom to do with it what you want. So I've felt like I've had that freedom. You know, like my kitchen I just redid, and it had been last touched in 1943.
Oh my word, yeah.
Right. You know, and you could see the different evolutions of it, like where the original brick chimney was in the corner that would have been where they were cooking at, you know, in the kitchen. And yeah, I mean, the house has gone through so many iterations, and that's the beautiful thing about I don't know, these properties and the history of them and how they change, and whoever inhabits them breathes some kind of new life into it, or not, or causes decay.
Yeah.
And it's a constant maintenance. Like, there is no let up,
Yeah.
And the problem in one of the problems in our society is when I look at Europe and I see homes that are like multi-generational, where families have lived in homes for we're talking 500, 600 years.
Right.
Or at least they treat them as if their children will own them someday.
Mm.
And we don't have that here.
It's rare. It's rare.
It's rare. You're doing, you get the Chip and Joanna Gaines, we're going to do this to maximize our dollar value to get the most out of it when we go to sell it someday.
Yeah.
I'm not going to invest in it.
You're adding value.
You're adding value, but a lot of times you're doing it by chinsing out on stuff.
Yeah.
You're not spending money. And it's another one of those cycles, with farming, with all these other cycles of just wealth extraction, where instead of doing something that will last, you do something that is okay and it works for now, but it's not on the long term net positive.
Yeah.
It's net negative. You're going to spend more. That's why I was adamant that I wanted to put standing seam metal roofs on my house, because I never want to put a roof on my house again.
Yeah, I did the same thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. And if you think about it as if my child is going to own this someday.
Yeah, they don't have to worry about a roof.
They don't have to worry about a roof. And then whatever problem that they have to deal with, if they put the most money they can into it at that time, and they do it the right way, then their children won't have to deal with that problem because it's been fixed to the best of their ability.
Right.
And you're always doing things to the highest quality, which in the end saves you money.
You're right.
Saves everybody money.
Right.
Saves the house. So we keep doing these things that are just very
That's
short.
Really fascinating.
It's short-term fixes when we need long-term.
We need
to appliances and crap like that.
Change what we think about.
Right.
Yeah, appliances too. Yeah.
Oh, it's planned obsolescence.
Yeah. They want. Yeah. So you have to buy the next one and buy the next one.
Like asphalt roofs. Let's just put a bunch of oil on our roof, let it drip onto our gardens, and then throw it in the landfill when we're done.
Yeah.
Lord have mercy. Pardon me, a little cough here.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, one of the things I've been talking to my dad about is the economy we live in, and the economy that is nature's economy or God's economy.
I love economics.
It's different. You plant one seed and it multiplies into hundreds, if not thousands of seed. Or you have, one seed turns into 7 different tomatoes, which have tons of seeds in there, and you get to eat your tomatoes and save it, and now can plant multiple different plants off of that.
Yeah.
And that's the multiplication thing, and we don't live in that. I'm not going to work and it's not multiplying for me. I'm going to work and spending an hour of my time and getting back a finite amount. You know what I mean? It's
right.
It's not the way that nature is intended, and so it's...
Well, yeah, but you can't multiply forever. That's the petri dish that, exhausts its supply.
Well, yeah, but if you, you're right. Because you plant a squash and then there's a squash within another 500 feet, right? It's going to mix. And you'll have a different squash that next time, but it could be a delicious squash.
How did we get from...
I know.
Okay, that was mental gymnastics. I don't know what just happened there, but I love it.
I've been learning about squashes. If I want to make butternut squash, we love butternut squash, so we grow it. But if there's any other squash within a half mile, that squash will pollinate and both of them will mix.
Yes.
And you can't grow butternut squash again because if it's let's say acorn squash somewhere else,
right,
they'll mix and the seeds will not be butternut. So, which is pretty fascinating. I didn't realize that. It has to be within a half mile or a mile.
Yeah.
Secluded to continue to pollinate.
Yeah, and a lot of crops are like
that. Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
It's really fascinating.
Or apples, all the apples that we eat that are from the store or whatever, it's all grafts. There was one tree that produced that apple, and then they just took cuttings off of that and cuttings off of that. I've been grafting apples at my house. I have a little nursery going on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I bought rootstock, about 25 G890 from Cummins Nursery. It's a semi-dwarf with a good disease resistance. Yeah.
You just put the...
And I have a buddy who grows heirloom apples, and he just gave me cuttings off of his tree. And those are all somebody took a cutting off of a cutting off of a cutting off of a cutting.
What?
Generations of people just like somebody found a good apple, like a random apple seed made a good apple. And they were like, this is a great apple. And people got rich back in the day by finding a good apple in their orchard. Because apples do not come true from seed either. Just like squash. Like a squash won't come true from a seed unless it's not hybridized, like it's isolated, like you're talking about. So, but apples do not come true from seed. So yeah, I've been grafting apples. I've been growing apple trees over there. I've maybe got room for like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I'm kind of tapped for space. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah, everywhere. You got a patio or something.
I always joke with my dad. I was like, we got more room. Like, there's more room.
You just got to start hitting your neighbors up and seeing if you can plant a little bit here, a little bit there.
I've been planting fruit trees in my neighbor's yard. She, with her permission, but she likes it.
I think that's so cool.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to have a tree in your yard, why not have something you can eat from?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of reasons to have
other trees,
like native trees that are good for all sorts of native things,
especially like the animals in the area.
The squirrels.
The squirrels, but birds or the squirrels are.
They actually don't bug me. You know, like honestly, like with all the food I'm growing on my property, I have surprisingly very little problems with animals. And
really?
I don't know why. Because I see rabbits in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And, okay, we did kill some moles. But they were getting kind of bad.
Yeah. I got to talk to you about how you did that because I've got a couple moles doing their thing around here.
Talk to my dad. He's the mole killer.
Really?
I could never do it. Every time I go to Menards and I go to the poison aisle or whatever, I'm just like, I'm like, I was almost there, and I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it. My dad's like, I'm killing the moles, and it's been great ever since. But yeah.
I wonder if you have cats nearby, or
that's not. I wish I had cat repellent.
Yeah, so you do have cats then.
Well, everybody has cats. It's like herpes. Most people have it, and they just live.
1 in 3 people have cats.
Exactly right. I should say not house cats, but like neighborhood cats.
Right.
We've got a bad case of cats.
Yeah.
Is what I guess how you. Actually, no, it's not as bad as it used to be. This neighborhood is not as bad as it used to be because we used to have a lot of cats. Yeah. Just roaming around.
It was like sleep underneath my car.
Yeah, right?
Like,
what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like,
then my roommate would feed him. I'm like, no, dude, that is not what you're supposed to
do. You know why they're here, right? Yeah.
Oh, God. We had 1 cat. Now we have 12. Like, come on.
Exactly. Like, you see how this works.
Yeah.
Right?
This is
the
multiplication we were talking about. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I wonder if that's.
Where are we?
I don't have cats. As many cats around where we're at, and squirrels all the time are in my stuff.
Are they really?
I've found a possum. I've had possums in my backyard sometimes.
You know what? I wonder if it's the dogs. Because I get them dogs out there like.
Oh yeah, and they kind of run around.
And, pee on everything.
Yeah, free reign to.
Just got that smell.
Yeah.
You know, if I see a squirrel out there, I'm like, just open the door and be like, get him, Cujo.
Yeah.
And they run. Yeah,
they go wild. Yeah. Well, we were talking about your house and all that cool stuff. I remember.
So it's got a barn too.
Yeah,
it's got an old carriage house, and that's like, I have a barn.
It's
it's pretty sweet.
It's upstairs, downstairs. You've shown me all the stuff that is just some of the stuff, and you made it into a greenhouse as well.
Yeah, it's got a greenhouse on the second floor, and there's my office space is up there, and the old hayloft, and then my shop is down in the first floor.
Yeah.
Then I got my tool shed for all my stuff. I'm really lucky. Yeah, I am. So
it's been cool with what you've done with the place too. I've just seen it kind of grow and
I can't stop. I can't stop. What's wrong with me?
Well, I think there's I do. That's another thing I love about Goshen is your house is unique, and it's so cool how unique it is. But there's other houses I've walked around that are similar.
Oh, absolutely.
Where they're not. I mean, they're not the same, but the whole yard is just the garden.
Oh, I was walking around and went over on like 5th Street, and I was not a neighborhood I'm normally not a block I normally go down. I was just like, look at this. Look at all these flowers, And the thing I love about like what I've been doing is what I'm seeing happen around it, which is like. So when I first moved there, it was just like grass and concrete, right? Nothing. Right. No birds. no songbirds, no nothing, right? Well, like as the trees are starting to grow, I mean, there's a ton of sparrows, but
Yeah. That's
English house sparrows are kind of like the mice of the sky. So we won't talk about, dispatching English house sparrows.
Yeah,
either,
it never would happen.
No, I don't know who does that.
No.
But yeah, like goldfinches. Now goldfinches come around because of the coneflowers and whatnot, the echinacea. They come and they sit on, like, I'll be like cooking in the kitchen, look out the window. There's a little freaking goldfinch out there hanging out on the flowers.
That's so cool.
Yes. Like, and it makes me so freaking happy.
Yeah.
And it's like, why couldn't we create this Shangri-La around us? Like, why couldn't we? Oh, yeah, parking in cars. My bad. Yeah, we got
RVs.
We got to
put the gravel packed on and put the.
I'm just talking about in urban environments. Like, where's the vision? Where's the hope? Where's the the attitude that it doesn't. I've been working on this for a freaking decade. Yeah. It's not like it happened overnight, right? And I don't know why I did the things I did. I've made a lot of mistakes. I've changed a lot of things.
Yeah.
And there's still things I wish I would have done differently, and still things I will do differently, and I'll change, But like, in order for things to actually change, people have to have an idea in their head of how it can change. Yeah. And like, I didn't know it was going to look like this when I started. Yeah. I don't know. I just made it up. I just make it up as I go. Like every year something's different. And I'm just like, oh, I'll just do this, Yeah. But I think the main issue is like, how do we get people to see beyond to a vision of, and my vision isn't the only vision. I'm not saying like what I do is like the cure for everything. It's not. Like planting flowers and fruit trees and stuff is like a beautiful expression of like our existence in the world with nature and like how we can survive, honestly. Like that's where I get my inspiration too, is just like, how are we going to figure this out? Like, it seems kind of like we got to figure something else different out. Yeah. But there doesn't seem to be any form of urgency or, just like vision to think about a world that's different than what people have. And I know I'll
think about it next year, or I'll think about it once I have enough money to think about it.
Right. Or trees are a lot of work, or it's all work.
Our garden's a lot of work. I hear that
Gardens
all the time.
Are a lot of work. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
It's at some level.
My secret weapon is my father. I must admit, I don't do it alone.
Mine's my wife.
He's retired. Yeah, right. Yeah, good. We need each other.
I know, it is.
Who cares who it is? Like, it's people that want to like do something beautiful. Right. And I think it is an expression of like beauty in the world. Just like.
And you're probably over this 10 years, this decade of doing this gardening, you've probably figured out, oh, this is really easy to do. And I can continue to do this. I'm going to add this next thing and just make it easy.
My goal in gardening is to do things that are the least maintenance possible. Yep. So, like sheet mulching at the beginning of the year, and then I don't have to weed. Yeah. Like my garden is blown up, but not with weeds. Yeah. It's plants competing for space and light, and I always love watching it. I always imagine it as like this battle happening out in the garden, and it's like which plant will get bigger. Like, ooh, I planted that one too close to that one. Which one's gonna win? Yeah. And they're all just healthy because they're not They're competing with each other, not with the weeds. You know?
There's something to that. Yeah, we really focus on that too. And you do. I remember talking to you at the neighborhood association.
Yeah, yeah.
And you said you put the cardboard and then mulch on top of it.
Chihuahua.
And that is your secret to not having as much weeds.
Yeah, that and my pee, but
only on the tomatoes, right?
Onions and garlic really like it. We should talk about that though. So pea cycling is actually a thing. So okay. I pee in jugs out in my barn because, I'm too lazy to go into the house. There's no bathroom out there. Yeah. But I pour it on the compost pile.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right? And I know that I'm not full of pharmaceuticals, so thank goodness.
Right.
So I know what's in my pee. Yeah. Like I wouldn't just take random people's pee.
Right. Hey, everyone.
I've asked people before, but it seems really weird.
Yeah.
But like.
Do you have to put a certain amount of blend of stuff on your compost to balance it out, or does it?
Nah, just pour it in there. And we just mix it in and just keep turning it and let it sit. Let it ripen up. Yeah, let it really ferment out there.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I've never thought about that.
Well, we piss out and shit out a lot of nutrients. It's it's another waste part of the stream. I mean, the biggest waste part of the stream of American agriculture, aside from all the runoff, excuse me, is that we waste a third of the food that we actually make. It's something staggering like that. Like the amount of food we make, a third of it goes to the landfill.
Yeah.
Right. So like that's the biggest sink of the actual inputs that we're putting in. It's going straight to the landfill.
Yeah.
But
and that nutrients could go back into the system.
Right. Same with our pee and our poop. Yeah. Like we designed this system to like, it's sanitary,
right,
which is good, but it's unsustainable as well, especially like for people that live further and further away from the plants. Like when you think about modern infrastructure, the person that lives next to the sewage treatment plant is paying as much as the person that lives 5 miles away from the sewage treatment plant, even though like the city has to pay X number of dollars per mile for that sewage treatment. And they have to maintain that whole line going out to the person that's that far away. So when you think about like where the land is most valuable, it's not always in the city center. It's like
outside or farther away. People
are building nicer houses on the outskirts, but they're paying the same amount for the infrastructure as the people who are in tighter neighborhoods. Yeah. When you think about your frontage, like how much a sewer pipe costs. Like just a sewer pipe in front of my house, it's like 30 feet wide on my lot.
Yeah.
Like that's all the city needs to maintain for me to have a sewer hookup.
Right.
That person that's, like
yeah,
where their lot is 500 feet wide,
right,
the city has to maintain 500 feet.
Wow.
So
yeah,
like the density of the urban population lends itself to efficiency. And so the further out you are, the more expensive you are to actually maintain. Yeah,
that's really interesting. I've never even thought about that.
Dude, I'm so into economics. I'm such a nerd. I listen to economics podcasts all the time. Like I love it. It's like
I've never even thought about that.
Right.
At all. Same with water.
Our modern infrastructure is unsustainable as well. But I mean, it's necessary to keep people healthy.
Right.
Like, there's fluoride and shit in the water, and like we're all getting our brain rotted from it. Yeah, but we also don't die from like, random diseases that before we had clean access to clean water. So say what you will about
potato famine, right? In Ireland, right?
Whatever. But like, I mean, the biggest increases in health in health in like the last like 1,000 years are essentially we learned what germs were and viruses. And we learn to wash our hands before we start sticking them into people when we're working on them.
Yeah.
Right? Oops.
Wow.
Yeah. So, like, you sanitize things. And, like, antibiotics, that was huge.
Yeah.
Even though we use them too much.
Kill the gut biome.
Yeah.
We were just having a conversation with our doctor about that.
Yeah.
For a baby,
Oh, dude, you got to watch it.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's like, what's weird is, like, who had these conversations before? Didn't it seem like there was a time when babies were just like healthy or something?
Yeah.
Why are we having? Well, okay, you tell me. You got a baby, you lucky bastard.
I know. Yeah.
It's congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's been cool. No, there is the conversation we're having with our doctor is he said within the study shows immediately there's no gut biome in a baby. Day one, day two.
From the mother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By touching and by eating and all that stuff, the biomes just starts to grow, and they've documented it.
Yeah.
He's like, and you just let that thing go. Don't put any antibiotics or anything like that in them, and they're going to be fine. And so it's just kind of cool to hear, because we were talking, do we give them probiotic? Do we give the baby probiotics to help, if they're having digestive problems or whatever? And they're like, nah, you're good. Don't even worry about it.
Like okay, babies poop, man.
Yeah. A lot.
A lot.
Holy cow. Yeah. I just need, I got to figure out how to, so you
do
that
recycle
over the compost.
Oh,
that would just, it would make my life a lot easier.
My dad used to, he would take our diapers. We had cloth diapers or whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
And he would soak them in buckets and then pour it on the fruit trees around our property.
Oh, I bet those.
Oh, we
loved it.
Dude, they went nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet we put compost, we put like sheep poop on our garden because a buddy of ours has some sheep poop.
Nice.
It just gives so much life to it.
Yeah.
Because you're right, so much nutrients just coming out of it.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's like another part of our waste stream that's just like
gone.
Well, let's just get rid of it. Well, okay, it's not gone. It goes to the sewage treatment plant and they
process it.
Yeah, and you know what happens to the solids? Goes on to farm fields.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not.
So it's already going back into our food.
Yeah, but guess what else is going into our food?
Yeah, birth control.
Endocrine disrupting.
Yeah.
Exactly. All sorts of crap.
Yeah.
Well, it's not just birth control, but that's like the tip.
Xanax.
That's the tip of the iceberg, bro.
Yeah,
it's all going in.
That's
it's nasty.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, it is.
Pharmaceuticals for sure. I think one of the reasons why, going back to having a healthy baby, we have a fantastically healthy baby, and we got pregnant really easily.
Yeah.
And I think it was because we were eating from the garden all summer. Like we were eating beet greens. We had most of our meals. We were able to just go from our garden in AJ's garden, which is great. I mean, AJ's.
He went to like San
LA.
Francisco?
Yeah, he's in LA.
LA.
Yeah.
LA.
He's gardening.
Is he doing good?
Yeah.
Cool.
He texted us today.
What's going on with that place though?
Don't know. I've had a baby. I've not.
You're like, I ain't even looking.
I haven't even. Yeah,
I haven't been by there lately.
Yeah.
I
don't
heard
think
it's kind of like
much. Yeah, it's hard because he had the vision, and I don't know who took it from him, but I don't think they had the same vision he had, and he was doing so much to it, and so it was beautiful to see what he was doing.
I hate to hate on like it's not. I know he didn't have a community garden, but like every time I hear about community gardens happening, like the only ones I've ever seen actually be successful that don't just turn to weeds are ones where somebody has a paid position. You have to have somebody that is
It's their responsibility.
It's their responsibility, and it's like one person, one organization that coordinates. Like you have to have somebody like, and I mean AJ was doing that when he was here.
Yeah,
but
it was his.
Right, exactly.
He had skin in the game for it. He bought the lot.
Right.
He did.
It's so hard to have a community garden that's all volunteer run and nobody's actually like heading it up or like responsible for like making sure that it's maintained. Yeah. It's just really hard, you know?
It's tough.
It is. It's even hard to do like your own garden.
Right.
It's all work.
It's a lot of work.
Which is why I try to like always do a lot of prep in the spring. So I have as little things.
And just watch it grow.
Like my biggest problem right now is harvesting. Like,
really?
Luckily, I have my dad.
Yeah.
Like he goes out there every day. He's like, he comes over and he dotes on the chickens. They're like, he's like, oh, got 6 eggs today.
Oh, you know? I love it.
Oh, he's great. Yeah. Like every time it rains, he calls me. How much rain do we get? I got like a little rain gauge.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, 0.86 today, Dad. He's like, oh, all right. You know, so we
don't have to worry about going to watering or anything.
A little farm report every day, you know.
I love it.
Yeah, he's like, well, I picked the beans and you know.
You got to pick my beans.
Dude, you green beans?
Yeah,
Looking
green beans and snow peas. So.
You still got snow peas?
Yeah.
With all this heat?
They're in the shade. So it worked out, yeah. You'll have to come. You'll look at. Well, it might be dark, but I should have shown you our garden beforehand. It is a jungle, and we love it. Yeah,
that's great.
I got these huge cucumbers. It's so great. Yeah.
I've got some on my fence right now. I want to make a sign this weekend that says "Eat me." It's like eat all these cucumbers. 'Cause that's like another joy I have is like, in the alley, like I see people come through and like pick flowers and stuff, and I'll just open the window and be like, "Take more." I'm like, do it. And they're like, oh. I'm like, yeah. Get it. Yeah. You know? Like the things that grow over the edges, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Like people will comment. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
we do that with our neighbors,
I got too much.
It's like, here, have some of this. We do cilantro, and we have a lot of Hispanic neighbors. So
Yeah.
And then our mint. And once we get our tomatoes in, I mean, we're going to be giving them tomatoes. So.
Yeah, and then Juan and Lizzie with their little son, Mateo.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, I'll just come out and they'll be like out in the strawberry patch eating strawberries. I'm like,
love that.
This is the shit.
That's awesome.
It is. It's great. Yeah.
So
everybody, you know, people ask me like, aren't you worried about people stealing stuff? I was like, I never have a problem with that. Yeah. Like, not really worried about it. Like, somebody needs food, like, and this is how they get it. Like, okay. Like,
yeah.
Okay. I'm not going to starve.
Yeah.
Like, it's a beautiful thing, you know? Like, I don't know. I like sharing.
Right.
So
that's a good thing, too.
Have you ever heard of this band, the Appleseed Cast? Damn.
I have not.
Well, just wondered. I was curious.
Well, I wanted to ask you about your beekeeping a little bit.
Oh, the beekeeping, yeah.
Allison, talking about sharing, was walking by, and you gave her some honey. And we loved that honey.
It was good, huh?
It was so good.
Yeah.
So what? How'd that come about? You're just...
Actually, your neighbor over here, James Nelson Gingrich.
Okay.
A year and a half ago, my dad was talking to him, and he's like, I got 2 hives, and I don't want 2 hives. And my dad was like, what?
You want another one?
I already had 2.
You can always do 3.
I mean, but okay.
We got things we got to talk about.
My normal Friday night group is not getting together, so.
Nice.
So I guess I'm just gonna walk home from here.
Cheers. Things it's
Cheers.
Cheers.
It's great.
A
Yeah.
couple blocks away, so you got a long walk, so it'll be tough. Get sober up on the way home.
So the bees, yeah, it's great. It's been going great. So James Nelson Gingrich gave me a hive, a fully functioning, beautiful hive.
Wow.
We took it apart at night. I apparently didn't know that you were supposed to wear a bee suit, so I got stung. And nobody told me. You know, like, I'm like, so what are we doing? He's like, well, you're a little underdressed, aren't you? And I was like, you didn't tell me anything. So, okay. So I've gotten stung many times. Actually, today, so, you know, you get cut on the job. So I, like, put my finger into a roofing nail, and it started bleeding. And I was like, oh, it sucks. So I put on a glove. And then I'm, like, reaching around a rafter. I'm on, like, 20 feet up on an extension ladder, like, running some lights, soffit lights in this lake house. And I reach around this thing, and all of a sudden, it's like, bam, I got stung by a wasp.
Ooh.
Where it's, like, nest was right there. Luckily, but in the same spot.
Where you got?
In the same spot.
Wow.
I know. It was like getting hammered.
One spot.
Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like, well, you little son of a bitch. And I got down off the ladder. I was like, I guess you're gone. And I knocked the nest down and kept working. But it was just random today. Like, cut and stung in the same exact spot.
Yeah.
In one day. That was beautiful.
Right there.
I don't know what it was. Yeah. Like, fuck that spot. You're like, oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
So, the bees. So, James very graciously gifted me a hive. And I had no business getting a hive, and I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And, so last year, the guy that I'm on land contract with, Tim Toot, wonderful, shout out to Tim Toot, good man.
Great man.
Great man. Cheers,
Tim Toot.
Yeah, Tim and Margaret, they're awesome. But he's a beekeeper. He was a beekeeper when he was a kid, and then he got back into it later in life. And he's a doctor. He started Goshen Family Physicians back in the day. That was his practice. And he's since retired. And but now helps me out with beekeeping. And he's got a bee yard up at Clay Bottom Farm.
Oh, cool.
That's where he keeps his bees. He keeps saying how he has too many hives, and then he keeps making more hives. Because if you're a beekeeper, you're just like obsessed with, you know, like, oh, I got some queen cells. I might as well do something with them.
You might as well.
Yeah. As well, why not?
Yeah.
So I just keep buying hives from him. I'm like, oh, great, now I got more. So, so that first year I got like 5 gallons of honey. And then this year I just got another 4.5. And they overwintered great. My favorite spot in my yard now is back underneath my apricot tree between, like, and I'm talking like, right next to the beehive. I have a little lawn chair, like a little lounge chair, and my chickens. So my chickens on the right, my bees are on the left, sitting under my apple tree or my apricot tree with my little nursery of apple trees. And I just chill there. My dogs come out and hang out. And we just watch the bees.
Watch the garden.
Yeah, I can reach over and put my hand on the hive, and like it's just really chill and just watching things happen. It's beautiful.
Yeah, has it helped your garden, you think, the pollinators?
They go far and wide.
Yeah.
Has it helped the pollination? That is a very good question. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't have a scientific answer for that.
You haven't seen X output of blah, blah, blah because you've added bees.
No.
But you've seen X output of honey, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
that's nice.
Yeah, they swarmed on me this year, which sucked. They needed more room, and I apparently did not provide it for them. Sorry, bees. And then they were like, we're out. So the queen left, laid some queen cells. Oh, but they went into the neighbor's tree.
Okay.
And so I got them on a ladder on top of my truck and went up there and cut it down, put it in a box, and gave it to another beekeeper.
Oh, wow.
So we captured that swarm, and it's doing very nice and very well in its new home.
Cool.
Yeah. So that was a whole experience. That was fun as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool.
You come out, where are my bees at? So then the next hive grow up now because they laid some queen cells.
Right. And they started a new hive. And I thought for like, only in the past week and a half did I actually realize that they're still okay.
Okay.
Like they got a queen. I thought that it was going to die. I thought they were queenless. And
you're done.
Yeah. I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm just going to exterminate my hive because once man, bees are fascinating. So here's what happens if there's no queen. So it's mainly, there's female bees and there's male bees, right?
Mm-hmm.
The queen is the only fertilized female bee because she goes out on a mating flight and flies around in the air, and there's male bees that when they like reproduce, ejaculate, whatever, they blow their sex organs off and they die.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a whole crazy thing. That happens all in midair. Okay. So she has a bunch of crazy sex with like all these like
midair. Yeah, that's wild.
Like dead male bees.
Yeah.
And then she comes back to the hive. It's crazy shit, right?
Yeah.
Comes back to the hive and she's fertilized for life. And then she,
produces.
like.
And then the workers are female, right?
All the workers are female. Yeah. The drones are male, and all the drones do is go out and have sex and try to send the genetic code on to the next hive.
Wow.
That's all the males do.
Wow.
They're little babies. They don't do a damn thing. It's like, oh man, let's sit back and have me some nectar.
Until my shining moment.
My pollen and nectar, and then I'm gonna go out and explode. That's it, dude. That's all the male drone does. It's like, it's crazy. So, but if there's no queen, the worker bees will start turning into queens a little bit, but they're not fertilized, so they can only lay males. And if that happens, then you can't even reintroduce a queen into the hive because
they'll attack her, right, or something.
They will, because they think they have a queen, because the laying workers will produce queen pheromones, and it's all about like these smells in the hive. Like,
is that how they communicate?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I've seen like they do little dances and things too.
Yeah, that's actually cool. They've interpreted the dances, and so they're all sun oriented.
Oh, wow.
So like straight up and down is like towards the sun or something, and the degree off that they do their dances within these rotations, and the amount of like how excited they are and how far it is, literally tells them how far away and what degree angle to the sun to follow to go find their food. So like it's a map. They're drawing a map with their dance.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bees are
so
cool. Yeah.
Yeah. That's, I mean, chickens and bees are our next move.
Chickens and bees are freaking awesome. I mean, there can only be so many bees in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm. Is there
real?
Yeah, I was gonna say. I wonder with
here's
Gingrich's hive and then your hive, if that
his hive died.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He hasn't been able to keep a hive alive this year, which is sad. So, but I mean, with colony collapse disorder, and that is not uncommon these days. Right. Like beehives dying is like
pretty normal.
Oh, now it is.
Yeah.
Didn't used to be. Yeah. But
I think it's the Wi-Fi. That's what I've heard. I don't know.
The Wi-Fi? No, it's not the Wi-Fi.
It's
the herbicides, the neonicotinoids, the pressure from it's everything.
Yeah.
It's
our environment.
Yeah, it's our environment, not theirs.
Right. Right.
Right? Like and even we're killing ourselves too, so freaking A. It's a large combination of factors, but there's a lot of people working on it, and there are ways to mitigate. I mean, there's pressure from the varroa mite. That's a big one.
I heard something about how, what is his name? He's a big fungus guy. He's using...
Paul Stamets?
Paul Stamets, yeah. And so he's using certain types of, mushrooms to combat that.
No kidding.
Yeah, he's
for
found
bees.
ways. Yes,
get it out.
Kill the
varroa mites.
Yes.
Oh, I gotta look into that.
Yeah, it was. I watched some YouTube video. That's the other thing too. I was learning about how there's a certain fungus that actually eats plastic and turns it into not the chemical, but an actual like soluble liquid that's decomposes it and will actually reintroduce.
Dude, fungus.
Yeah,
mushrooms
fungus is wild.
Are beautiful.
Yeah,
and they're gonna save this planet. I mean, with us or without us.
Right.
You know, there are scientists that are worried about fungal diseases that will affect humans because, like, you look at bats. Right now, there's some really bad fungal diseases that are affecting entire populations of bats right now. Wow. It's like called white nose disease or something. And so it gets into a population, they can't combat it. I mean, they obviously don't have the intelligence that we have. But, you know, like, if we get something that is hard to combat, and, like, you see how our antibiotics are failing against, like, MRSA and all these other antibiotic-resistant strains of bacteria and viruses. it is not that far of a stretch of imagination to realize that there are funguses that could inhabit humans, and we would not be able to find a cure for them.
Fight it. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've done so. Interesting. Where's the hope in that? With all the bee stuff and
in Fauci, we trust.
Yeah.
Hey, there. Huh. When I talk to vaccine skeptics, and I'm also like a skeptic of sorts, I ask, do you think it is a rational move for humans to want to have the capability to fight disease that comes up that we are not aware of? Like, because diseases happen. Mm-hmm. Obviously, like, gain of function research is a big fucking deal, and we should probably not do it. Yeah. Yeah, that's playing with fire. And, look what happened. So let's stop doing that.
Let's make awful diseases.
Exactly, and make them worse. Right. Let's not do that. But nature has a way of, like, balancing itself out, and we are somewhat toxic to the planet in certain ways, so nature has a way of balancing things out. Yeah. So is it important for us to try to combat that? And should we use all the tools at our disposal? And, like, I think, we're very intelligent. We're using science to the best of our abilities. Like, I think we should try to do that. I think we should want to try to, like, cure diseases. And I think we should want to try to, like, if there are pandemics, we should try to fight them. I don't know. I think we should do that. Yeah. So whether or not you trust it or not is a wholly different conversation. And like, how do you get to a point where you might? Yeah. Where do we get to a point where we would actually
Everyone's dying.
Right. Yeah, like, does everybody have to die for you to finally be like, oh, okay, I'll take the shot? Yeah. Like, at what level will you actually, like, decide that your individual freedom or your, like, whatever is your hang up with taking a shot to give up your level of autonomy and freedom for the rest of the people? Is it when your own personal safety feels threatened? When it's just you and it's not somebody else? Like, when do we give up our own personal, I don't know, like, our autonomy for other people? Yeah. Like, when do you sacrifice your wants and needs for other people? That's another big.
That's a huge question.
That's a big problem we have. Yeah. Is, like, the idea that my freedom is my ability to
do whatever I want
and not worry about the wants and needs of the entire society as a whole. Yeah. And that's a problem.
I take an approach, just a philosophical approach of, I've got to deal with my problems myself. Like, I don't think anyone else can do that. And then when it comes to, I'm almost like communistic with my family. What is mine is also my family's. Right. And I see a lot of that in people, but then I think a lot of people forget the community aspect. Right. They completely cut that out. Wow. And remove it. And if you don't have a community, or if you don't pour into a community that allowed you to, one, work on your own problems and also provide for your family, right, then what's going to happen to the next generation? You need to pour in the community to allow that cycle to continue to happen. And a lot of people miss that third piece, I think.
Well, in a capitalist society, money equals freedom. And if you have enough money, you can separate yourself from those who serve you. So you don't have to think about, like, the people that actually created what you are able to do. Yeah. Like, you can separate yourself intellectually from that because, like, I deserve that. Or I did this on my own. Yeah. Or this money allows me to do this without these other people. Yeah. When it's entirely not true. Yeah. Like, it's a way to separate. Yeah. And it's really freaking sad.
It's gross.
It is gross. Yeah. It really is. Like,
do you think this is? I'm gonna step a little bit.
Go on.
But
high step it.
High step it. Yeah. This might be a little out there too. Okay. But high step it. Yeah. But I think that has been something that's been a part of our culture for a while, and it's almost controlling our culture. Money is like almost the god that we pray to.
Wow, not just
in a way, right? Do you see that?
It's the lack of altruism. It's the lack of, like, money has led to, like, the lack of altruism. Yeah, like the idea that we are a whole, not separate entities, but we are a whole.
But being, like, consuming that and worshiping that is now we're starting to reap those benefits of that.
Yeah.
Some are good, some are awful.
Oh, yeah.
Well, a lot are awful.
Yeah.
Okay. It's just interesting. I don't know if that's shifting because you worship that for so long, it's just going to consume you, and we're getting consumed as a.
Rich people are happy.
Yeah,
they are happy.
Yeah, but there's not that many more. There's very rich people, but for a long time there was a middle class. There was a lot of people who were prosperous.
What? There's like that freaking website. It's like, what happened in 1971? You ever seen that? And it's like there's this. I don't know if it's like 1971. Is that the gold?
No, that's.
There's like a year where all this shit happens. Where it's like you see these graphs and like productivity and wage increases are kind of going along together, and all of a sudden it just goes. Where productivity goes insane, but the wages don't.
Oh, wow.
And the money, when you see where the money goes, it all goes to the top, and it doesn't go to the middle class. So, like, it's basically Reagan era economics. Like, when we stop,
we're still waiting for that trickle.
We had people that were happy and healthy.
Yeah.
I talk about this with people, and I was talking about with a client today. Like, we're talking about lighting in a house. So modern house lighting, I'm working at this lake house, right? And like the architects, fucking architects, don't get me started on this shit. They give you the blueprints for like the lighting schematic, and they put a grid, and you look up at the ceiling and it's all cathedrals, and there's like all these angles, and what they give you is like a grid, which will never work, right?
Right.
They don't even know what they're doing. But all they do is they're like, throw a bunch of cans in the ceiling, right? You need like 1,000 lights. Like, I just did a house here in Goshen, and I think there were 80 cans in the house, 80 lights.
Wow.
In the house. It's a house.
Yeah.
It's not like extravagantly huge.
Yeah.
I love the people, but you have to put dimmers on everything because everything's going to be so goddamn bright when you turn the switch on that you're going to like when you modern lighting. And I was talking to this woman, and I'm like, you don't need cans in the bedroom. You're going to sleep.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing in here?
Yeah.
Like, you should be somewhere else. You should be out working or doing something else. I'm like, look, I grew up with one light bulb in my bedroom.
Right.
Like a small, like little round fixture from the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, and I'm okay. I was like, rich people in the 1910s had a light bulb, and they were rich.
Mm-hmm.
And they were fine.
Yeah.
And now, like, we have these, like, we have LED bulbs that are, like, way more efficient. But that just means we use 10 times more of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's because it's so backwards.
It is. It's like we get more efficient, but then we just want more.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's this weird cycle where it's like, oh, well, we can have more of it, and we can have more of it, and we can have more of it.
Yeah.
And we just keep doing it. For some crazy reason, we're like that mouse on the mouse with the dopamine hit.
Yeah.
Like, I was just listening to a podcast today about...
Hit me again.
Yeah.
One more time.
They gave these rats, or they gave these mice the ability to have a dopamine hit whenever they want, and they just ended up sleeping and doing nothing else.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
Because they were so satisfied, they're like, man, we don't have to do it. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm freaking happy.
Yeah, but it's not satisfying.
No. God.
No.
And it's like people buying stuff all the time, or rich people just getting whatever they want whenever they want it, right? It doesn't make them happy.
No, yeah, that's what I was going to say. When it comes back to money, we may think that money produces happiness. And there is something nice to being like not having to worry about money. For sure.
Not having to worry about your safety and security. It's not about money, because money is like the vehicle for that.
Yeah.
It's about...
Money doesn't give fulfillment.
No.
I don't think so.
No. All that money does is like keeps you alive.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But once your basic needs are met, you're fine.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's nice. Then you can be creative. You can do stuff.
Right.
You can enjoy your garden. Mm-hmm. Trees for Goshen. Are you still part of that?
Trees for Goshen, yes.
I know. Real quick second. I wanted to ask you about that because I do have a tree in my front yard and it's native. I love what you guys are doing.
Oh, thank you.
Are you still a part of that? Yeah.
I am.
Okay.
It's best of my ability, but yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
I know. You're doing
I help
things.
plant, and I basically help plant and help organize the plantings.
Yeah.
And I do a bit of the visionary kind of stuff in there.
Yeah.
I don't know. We just,
Well, and one of the things, Aaron, when I was talking to him at one point. I don't know if he's still part of it or not.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
he's awesome. And
Shout out to Aaron Kingsley
shout out to
and
Aaron.
Maddie Lehman, and there's Melanie Helmuth. Oh, there's so many more. There's like Joey and
it's growing. It's so
Jonathan Corbin.
Is he
My tree climber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He cut my pear tree. That was very cool. Him and Jason Feenstra, if you know Jason Feenstra.
I
Maybe
don't, but that's cool. And who else? We've got there's Kathleen. Man, there's a couple other. I think her name's Cynthia. Yeah, we have a really good crew right now of people
who care about this.
We do, and our biggest problem is organizational structure. And what we're trying to do right now is to get a ton of money so we can pay somebody to do the things that we as volunteers. It's the same with the community garden.
Yeah.
You know, if you pay somebody to take care of the things that need to get taken care of, you can have people that just sit around and say, like, this is what needs to be done, but then you have somebody that actually does it.
Right.
And that's the hard part. So right now we're in that weird middle phase where, like, we've grown and we're doing good, and we want to have the problem of not enough money and too many trees, but we have the opposite problem, which is, like, we have plenty of money, but we can't get enough trees out. So
yeah,
if we spend money on advertising, well, it's a beautiful. We have beautiful problems, and there's a lot of good things coming on the horizon. And I think it's going to turn into a much bigger organization.
That's cool.
But we really,
Well, I love the concept of Goshen is a forest. Like, I love that concept because it really is like, it's not just a bunch of trees in a town. We're living in a forest, and you guys are maintaining that forest and making sure the longevity. Going back to the conversation we had about you put on a steel roof because you don't have to ever worry about putting on a roof again.
Yeah.
You know, it's like we're planting trees for the future generation and the next generation.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I am so passionate about a food forest because like the idea
that would be so cool.
It goes back to people have to have the vision, and they have to want to do stuff. They have to want to learn how to, like, save food, save seed, like harvest. Yeah, it's work. It's all work. Yeah, but like, it's work that's worth it. Yeah, you know, in my opinion.
Oh
like, I love it.
I'm gonna go back to what I told you. Like, we didn't have to take prenatals to worry about getting pregnant, because we just ate the food that grew now, and it was full of nutrients. Yeah, like your body needs that. And you know, we talked a little bit about medical stuff. I think a lot of stuff we could cut out of our life if we were eating again from the garden. Like, that's where, you know, I think there's something so.
You want to hear what I had for breakfast?
Yeah, I would love to tell me.
Oh my god! Actually, what I had for lunch, really. So, like, man, this is my jam lately. This time of year is my favorite. Almost favorite time of year in the garden. So, like, green beans, potatoes, beets, onions, garlic, and then some bacon. And then I just saute all that. I use a lot of spice.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm a spice whore. Like Ethiopian, Hungarian, like just packing it in there, right? Like, I like flavor. And then a couple eggs on top. So, like, I was eating lunch today, and I'm like, holy shit, like, 90% of this came from my property. Yeah. Like, I was eating lunch. I'm just like,
that's so satisfying.
Good. It is.
It's so,
and
other
it's
than
so
the bacon.
Good.
That's you.
Yeah, but that came from Jake's Meats, which is a farm I've been driving by on the way up to. Yeah. It's local too, you know?
We get a lot of our meats from Vintage Meadows. Are you familiar with them?
Absolutely.
They're such good people. Yeah.
Dude, I've done a lot of their electrical work.
Really? Yeah. Yeah. They've got a great farm.
Ryan and Katrina.
Dude, I'm trying to get them on the podcast.
Really?
Yeah.
Do it.
He said he's going to. He's just not sure when. We got to figure it out.
I was trying hard to get them in contact with Dave Pottinger to set up a meat shop where Refined is now downtown. Yeah. Because that used to be a butcher shop.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you remember that, but like 6-7 years ago, Matterns,
yeah.
Yeah.
McAllister's was.
It was a butcher shop.
Yeah.
And I was trying to convince them that Goshen needed a meatery.
Oh, yeah.
Like when you think about like dryers up in Three Oaks or something,
or bales
down in
Yoder's and
Syracuse.
Shawano,
Exactly.
Yeah. No,
like we could have had a charcuterie.
Yeah.
And I was trying. I'm like, and they even did a walkthrough. Like,
I thought about it.
I was like, Dave, you need to talk to these people. I'm like, Ryan and Katrina, you need to talk to Dave.
Their meat's so good.
Their meat is.
I love it.
Yeah.
They've got great meat.
They do.
I'm going to go back to Trees for Goshen for a second. One of the things I'm seeing when I go on my
we need a
walks-
meat tree.
We need a meat tree. How sick would that be?
GMO. Let's do it. What an
Science.
apple that you like carve into, and it's just like beef.
Oh, that'd be so good. You
Yeah.
fry it up.
Yeah.
That'd be sick.
Bacon apple.
The bacon. We already kinda
Applewood
have
smoked
it.
bacon?
We already kind of
Exactly.
We're close. The invasive species. Is that something you guys are ever going to do or think about doing?
We do.
Because I see it a lot, and
What are you talking about? Give me an example.
When I'm walking down the pumpkin vine, and I'm walking near the water, I see the one that kind of looks like a walnut tree, but it's not. You know
Chinese sumac.
Yeah, and I may or may not go through there and tear them all down while I'm walking by.
You.
Dirty.
You're doing it.
I know. Every time I see, and they're so fragile.
They're so human-like.
Yeah, they're easy
Want to get into that environment, take over, don't they?
They go nuts.
Yeah, they do.
And so, and they got they're like a reddish tinge to the leaves.
Yeah.
Too, and so, and then the stop, or when they're green, or the new growth is very green, and they snap so easily. Like any other type of wood does not snap like that, but these just like it's like hollow on the inside.
Yeah, I wonder if we're talking about the same thing, but yeah.
So
we do a little bit of work with invasive species. There's a forest on the west side of Goshen. The Nofziger Woods is what we call it.
Yeah.
It's over by the Church of the Brethren, the Dunkard Church of the Brethren.
Yeah.
I don't think they dunk people there, but
I know exactly what you're talking about. Like Green Street, kind of, right? Or something.
yeah,
like
it's
that.
on Green Road. Exactly.
Green Road, yeah.
And what is his name? Mr. Nofziger, I'll call him because I can't remember his first name right now. He planted it some years ago, and it's a managed forest. So they planted rows of pine, rows of hardwood, rows of pine, rows of hardwood. The pines seek to help the hardwood.
They push it up.
They push it up straight, so you get good straight timber. And that's really a forestry management practice reserved for logging, essentially. But it's also a wonderful habitat, and we've gone in there and taken out honeysuckle. So we'll get volunteers from the college and stuff. But Trees for Goshen is going to try to move into management practices where we just got our 501c3, or was that 401c3?
501c3.
501c3,
Nonprofit
yeah.
status, yeah.
We were under an umbrella blanket organization before. It was like the Community Foundation Project or something, but they've since decided that they wanted to fold, and they weren't going to manage so we were under an umbrella before. Well, we've now since gotten our actual 501c3 that we are officially our own. So what that means for us is that we might be able to own land. So people can give us land to manage.
Oh, that would be so cool.
Yes. And there are other organizations around here.
That would be awesome.
Right. And we're working with Evan Miller right now. They had planted a bit of woods over in the industrial park off of Eisenhower Parkway, and are very invested in seeing that stay as woods. It's behind Beacon Health Systems. It was called Hertzler Systems was their company. So we're in this weird in-between phase where we're like, well, we're going to plant trees, but maybe we're also going to manage stuff in the future, or we'll be a vehicle for managing urban forest.
That would be cool.
That people want to preserve. Yeah. So, yeah, it's very interesting. Like
that'd be so sweet.
Yeah, I mean, we've been doing this for 5, 6, 7 years. I don't know how long. Ryan and Aaron started it. Ryan Smith. Ryan Smith. Shout out Ryan Smith.
Yeah, he's a good man.
Yeah, he kind of started it years ago. Cheers, Ryan.
Cheers.
Yep, works over in Elkhart in the city building.
I remember visiting you Aaron and Ryan, I think, and you're at a board meeting. I mean, this was like 2016, 17.
Yeah.
Back then.
Yeah.
Just you three meeting at the over by Shanklin.
Okay, yeah. Boy, man, that was over at the Reed Center.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're still meeting there.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome because then you can also have direction in how that woods grows.
Yeah.
That would be so sweet.
Yeah, it's just we're at this weird spot where I think we're about ready to blow up. The biggest problem we have, honestly, it's not money. The biggest problem we have is finding people that want to plant trees. So, let's see, what was it, like 2 plantings ago? It blew up. I did a Facebook thing and it blew up. And then this last time it was like meh. And like I don't know the algorithms. Yeah. I am not a guru. Yeah. I don't know how to do this stuff. So this next go around for the fall, which we're about to start, we're actually going to start working with marketing companies that actually know how to work the system.
Yeah.
Because it's all so stupid.
Yeah.
It all changes so much. Like half the crap on Facebook anymore is just like
it shifts.
It's ads.
Yeah.
Like
it really is. Yeah.
Or just
let's extract money from the
Exactly.
Yeah, I see where this goes. You see where it goes too.
I do. I got an Amazon package on my porch now. How'd you do that? I needed that.
Yeah, I know.
I hope it's things I need. I hope so.
That's
but it's so easy.
Yeah, it really is. Click.
Yeah.
You don't have to think about it. I know, but then you lose your mom and pops, and it's sad. I think though, this is one of the things that I saw with COVID is I think people realize that I never heard or had not really heard supply chain until COVID. And I saw, and I've talked about this before, but prior to COVID, I could walk into a store, I could buy bacon. I may not have had enough money for bacon, right? But if I had enough money, I could get bacon. It didn't matter who I was.
Right.
If I had enough money, I could get the product I wanted because that's the world we lived in. COVID happens. No matter how much money you have, you could not get that product. Certain products at certain times. Yeah. And so it's been a shakeup.
Yeah, but that was some weird. Well,
it was weird. But for me, I've garden. Okay, let's meet Katrina and Ryan. Let's get more invested in local. Let's get more to places where I can have a conversation with someone. Maybe he doesn't have bacon, but I can get meat. Right. Because I have that connection. I have that local stuff.
And I think the thing that we have to understand is like, that's a very... We could all have that if we chose to all have less. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, we're privileged. Yeah. So we can have
less, but quality.
Less, but quality.
Right.
Like, we have to understand that everybody could have all that. Not just you and I, not the people that have money, that have connections, that know where to look, that know where things are at, that we can find.
That live in Amish country, right? We're lucky because we live in Amish country.
Well, I mean, Ryan and Katrina are Amish, and like none of the farmers Well, there are some Amish farmers.
There's a lot. I can get to it easily because there's so much of it around. Compared to let's say somewhere else.
Yeah, but we're the Amish,
middle of Kansas.
Aldi's.
Yeah, I know.
You ever see what they get in their grocery store?
It's gross,
dude. Right? You ever see what they buying over at freaking Menards when they come out of there? Yeah, right. You're like, you're on the processed food train too. It ain't all green beans from the garden, bro.
No. No, it's not. It's unfortunate, and it's wrecking their community in ways.
Well, it's wrecking everyone's. But absolutely, they've
sugar. They love sugar. It is. I had tacos, a homemade Amish meal, and it was tacos, and it was sweet.
Get out. Yeah, they had sweet tacos.
Sweet tacos. Like, this is supposed to be savory.
That just makes me sad.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
That's
freaking sad.
I was very sad.
I just noticed your whiskey glove. That's
you pop it open. There isn't any whiskey in there right now, but it's all upstairs.
I'll just imagine.
But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. But
well, I think
you're right. Quality and less.
Like, we all have to learn to live with less. Yeah. Like, that is like number uno. Like, we could all have grass-fed beef. We could all have pasture-fed pork. We could all have that. But only if we all kind of somewhat agree that we can just need less of it. Mm-hmm. I'm a fatty. Like, I could use less of it, and I'd be great. Yeah. I'm a consumptive, like, I don't know if that's like, what a
consumer.
Class. A consumer, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but if we all just learned to live with less, we'd all be way better off, and we'd be healthier, and we'd be happier, and just in so many ways. Yeah, and if we would,
Do you think we're heading that way?
No, it's the tragedy of the commons. It's an economic principle that's basically like, if I don't take it, somebody else will. That's the tragedy of the commons. That's why we can't cooperate. That's why the water scarcity in the West happens. It's because I only have so much. Well, I can't give that up.
Right.
I'm not going to give that up, because if I don't use it, that person will.
Right,
and then I won't benefit from it. It's called the tragedy of the commons. It's an economic principle as old as time. Any resource that is available will be used by somebody. And if it's not you, it's somebody else. So you better get it. The tragedy of the commons, bro.
Yeah. That's not good.
No, it's why it's why we're at where we're at.
Yeah.
It's because we can't agree, and somebody's going to take it. If there is a resource that can be exploited, somebody will take it. And we as humans, there is somebody out there greedy enough to do it. And there's enough people willing to want them to do it. Mm-hmm. It's not like somebody's like...
Well, we've compartmentalized everything too, so you don't even have to think about it.
Right, no. Yeah. It's like, well, I'm not, extracting the lithium from the mine.
Right.
I'm not, extracting the phosphorus from the desert in Morocco.
Right.
I'm not creating the radioactive gypsum in Florida.
Right.
Well, I didn't do that, but I am.
Yeah,
I am. I'm doing all that.
Yeah.
Every single bit of it.
Yeah. It's tough. I think, for me, the more I learn about it, the more I try to make conscious decisions.
Right. And, yeah. And
it's
so hard because
a lot of times you don't even know it. Like, you just like, oh, I want an iPhone. I mean,
yeah.
Also on the other hand, I would have never learned about this information if I didn't have the iPhone.
Right. And
right. So it's like, oh man.
Yeah. And if you think about the most sustainable, I was just thinking about this the other day, I was listening to a radio program about this the other day. The most sustainable iPhone is the one you have. Use it as long as possible.
Yeah.
Do not upgrade until you absolutely have to for some stupid reason.
Right.
This is a phone.
Right.
And a communication device. Until it ceases to function as that. Don't upgrade.
Yeah.
That is the worst thing you can do for the planet.
Yeah. That's fascinating. Yeah.
Just things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, use it up, wear it out, do with or do without.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. I've been doing things too where, because we use it so much for everything else, the iPhone. It's this and everything else, and it's like, man, is it a tool that I'm using, or am I the tool?
Open a beer with it,
right? Am I the tool of it? Is it using me? And I've been thinking I've talked to people about this, where it's like I see the Amish, and there's a lot of garbage in the Amish community, but then they have their phone booth at the end of their driveway. I'm like, maybe I need to put my phone right when I walk in, because at one point phones were on the wall. Why are they now?
Everywhere.
And with the radiation, who knows what it's doing in my future.
Dude, I remember when I first got a phone, and I was like, no way am I wearing that on my body.
Yeah.
And now I'm just like, I'll put it in my breast pocket right next to my heart. All right, I'll listen to my podcasts all day on the speakerphone.
It's great.
God. Yeah, I remember being paranoid about that years ago, and I'm just like, oh, this is fine.
It's just past it.
Yeah, you have that little dog sipping coffee with the flames around it.
Yeah, that meme. Yeah, this is fine. Everything's great.
Exactly.
There's no problems here.
Exactly. Just obfuscate, bro. Put on the freaking blinders. Yeah. But just learning to live with less, or like, I feel like a super consumer, like I buy a lot of shit. Like, it's usually, I was just thinking about today. I'm like, wow, I just spent like $130 on blueberries, but I just spent $130 on blueberries, right? Like, that's food.
Yeah.
Like, and it's supporting local farmers too.
Yeah. And you can freeze them. They're good for you.
Actually, it was cheapest frozen.
Really? Yeah.
I went up to the blueberry ranch on my way home from Michigan today, and like, I stopped at one place, and they were selling fresh picked, $13 for 5 pounds, and I was like, hey, you should charge more.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not going to say anything. I'm I'm cheap. So,
Yeah.
well, not cheap, but like
Snack.
after I left, I was like, damn, I should have tipped them.
Yeah.
Like I asked him, I was like, are these machine picked or hand picked?
Oh,
He was
they're
like, oh, they're hand picked.
Yeah.
And I was like, bless your fucking.
But
heart.
it's their children. You don't know it, but it's child labor. They're out
I'm
there.
fine with that.
Yeah. My
I
wife.
wish I would have been picking blueberries when I was a kid instead of playing video games.
My wife, her grandparents owned a you pick blueberry farm.
Really?
So unfortunately, they tilled up most of it for now corn because they've kind of sold, but they still have like 4 acres. So we go out and pick.
Yeah.
And I'm over there like bumbling, and she's just like, because she spent her summer.
She's good at it.
Oh yeah.
Wait, does she have a picking bucket?
She has a picking bucket.
Yeah.
She knows how to.
Dude, if you go, man,
It's
whenever
so
I go
cool.
blueberry picking, I take my picking bucket, and people are like, "Whoa,"
Well,
and I'm like, "I'm here
know what I'm
for
doing.
I'm here for the bloobs."
yeah.
Right.
And they are so good right off the vine. There's something so just. It's.
Are you telling me you steal from the U-Pick place by eating?
Oh,
it?
well.
They kind of know you do.
Yeah, I know. I think they factor that in.
Yeah,
I
they
think
must.
they
I
have
hope
to.
they do.
When we go to her grandparents, they don't sell it anymore, so it's just we can pick whatever we want.
That's
so,
awesome.
And I've been making blueberry. I'll pick a bunch and make blueberry beer. So that's been
Really?
Yeah, that's been my thing. I'm trying to perfect the perfect blueberry beer so that I
Blueberry
can then
beer.
send it back to the family.
Oh,
Pick a bunch and then
yeah.
then they all have
That's pretty cool,
it's good stuff. But
dude. Well, the fruit of the earth, man.
I know.
Like all these.
We're trying to
different-
grow blueberries here, not so well, but
You
I'll
either. It sucks here, dude.
Yeah, it's sandy. It needs to be sandy.
Well, we have sandy loam, but I'm gonna dig my blueberries up this year.
Yeah,
They have done nothing.
yeah.
Like they have not grown.
It takes like 5 years before they bloom. Like
I've had blueberries,
really,
but the bushes have stayed the exact same size for the past like 6-7 years.
the ones that they're up here. At the farm.
Yeah, because they like it there.
Yeah.
My blueberries hate my property, and I'm sad for that.
I'll say
I thought I was gonna have like a blueberry hedge.
It
you
would
know?
be so sick that.
I'm like, I'm gonna like cut it all nice, and like it would be like the sexy ass blueberry hedge.
Yeah.
No, they hate it.
It's unfortunate.
It is.
Yeah, we can't figure it out either, but it's okay.
Wow.
I
Go
was
ahead.
gonna say this, dude. I know, you may feel like you're a consumer, but your property and lifestyle is inspiring to others.
Oh, I
Like,
know.
we've taken inspiration from it. and
That's
other
like the
people.
vision thing. It's like people don't know what they can do until
The
they
seed-
see it.
The seed you've planted is multiplying.
Yeah. Well, I
You
hope
know?
so. I
And
hope
so-
so. Yeah. And that's the thank you. I appreciate you coming at me, bro. So I'm not used to this in my food.
I know. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think about that a lot. It's like you don't know what you're looking for, and sometimes you have to see it.
yeah.
And so I hope, and that makes me really happy to hear that like people look at that and see a possibility,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, oh, that's a different
It's
way.
attainable.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
And like they
Something
see
to
me
strive
and my
for.
dad out there working and do stuff, and like it's
And
like,
that gets
oh,
you out into the community too. That's what I love about gardening is you have to be out there working.
yeah, absolutely,
You can't be inside playing video games.
absolutely.
It's
And
as much as you
people-
want to, but
Yeah, in this alley here, man, there's so many people that go through the alley.
mhm,
And when tomatoes are on, you see somebody coming, and you're just like, "Hey, you want a tomato?"
they love it.
It's so good, dude.
It's so cool.
Actually, yeah, on a Diaz Laux, like I was giving a violin lesson the other night. My dogs are barking, and I was like, "What is going on out there?" I just went and I poked my head out the kitchen window, and I opened it up, and I was like, "Hey, what are y'all doing out there?" And she's like, "Oh, I was just showing my mom your garden." I was like,
Cool.
"Sweet." I was like, "What?" Okay. She's like, brought her mom by
Yeah.
to show my garden. I was like, "Cool, thank you. I got to go back to teaching." Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to go play some Mississippi hot dogs for a hot minute. Yeah, like we got some fat beats.
Yeah. I love that though.
Sorry.
No, it's good. I'm
We're-
vibing with it.
we're reversed.
We should wrap it up. We've done 2 hours straight.
No
Can
way.
you believe that?
No way.
Yeah.
It's only 3 beers.
Yeah, 3 beers in 2
That's
hours.
pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad. Dude, I knew this was gonna be a good podcast.
Wait,
I
was it
knew-
all right?
It was amazing.
Oh,
Yeah.
was it good for
The
you?
fact that you had a freaking VW rabbit that you rolled on vegetable oil blew my mind. I'm learning things that
Don't do it.
yeah.
I want to do biodiesel so bad.
yeah.
I
I've
actually
thought about
wanna-
like water. I've seen stuff like that or whatnot.
What, water?
Yeah, like I don't know, some cop died because he tried to. Conspiracy theory. You don't need to listen to it, but there's something that's non-oil. I think that would be so cool. like to power something and not. I didn't even ask you about my electricity questions.
Do you know how much caloric energy is in a gram of like plutonium? You should look it up. It'll blow your freaking mind. Like how much caloric, like calories are a measure of energy, right?
Okay.
Like look up the energy density of a gram of plutonium.
Okay.
It'll blow your freaking mind. Okay? Like, yeah.
It could power a lot then.
Oh, a gram of plutonium will power like 100,000 homes.
Wow.
Big city. It's something stupid like that. Don't quote me on that because I'm being an idiot right now.
No,
like,
but it's
like just the smallest little piece
pushes
like radioactive material can like power a town.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But when you think about water, it doesn't have the energy density like that. Like
but something else maybe. I
don't buy that whole like water powered car stuff. I think there's a lot of hooey out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, also free energy. There's no such thing as free energy. Energy is neither created nor destroyed. It's the first law of like physics.
Really? So it's just out there.
Like
how do we get energy into our houses? Isn't it like coal plants somewhere else?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's
the
thermal energy that's been stored by the sun by plants. Oh, sorry, not by the sun. It's been stored by plants over time in carbon that we are now extracting, and that it took like millennia to take this sun energy and turn it into like oil. Yeah, somebody was telling me, he's like, no, oil's like the blood of the earth. It's totally regenerable. And I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, over millennia.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like the sun is just like...
It's not happening every 10
No,
years.
it's not happening every day, bro.
Yeah.
Like, oil's not getting easier to get.
Yeah.
I hate to break it to you, but like, they don't really want to go out into like the North Atlantic. Like the Norwegians don't really want to go out into these like crazy seas and get oil if there were a better way to do it. Like, and it's not getting easier to do.
Yeah.
They're getting the easy shit now.
Right.
Like it is not getting easier.
Right.
It's going to get harder. Like they found the easy shit. Like there's like oil wells in Texas. Like, great. That's easy. Let's do that. Well, there's not as many of those anymore. Why? Because we've exhausted some of them. Yep. Are there more? Sure. Are they as good?
But how many?
Exactly.
Right.
There's a finite amount of that shit. And like, it's not like that oil well just keeps making more magic black gold, bro.
Right.
Like,
so they burn that, and then that is what powers the generators that brings the energy to our houses?
Well,
I mean, I'm asking at a high level. I think energy is magic.
It is. Well, it's not magic.
To me, it is.
It's a magnetic field. It's like, it's basically collapsing and expanding magnetic fields that do everything. That's it. It's creating magnetic fields.
You're saying magic to me. That's exactly what you're saying to me.
I think it's magic too. I mean, well, I think it's physics, but energy is neither created nor destroyed. It takes energy density, like in like coal, in the sun's rays. Like you have to have like a source of something. Yeah, the whole free energy thing. I've got friends that are really onto it. And they're like, well, look, this guy had this thing and it made a light bulb go on. I'm like, okay, well, make a steel plant run.
Yeah.
Like scale that up and tell me how big that is.
Yeah.
Like, okay, it's free energy.
Maybe a
like,
small level, but
right. Like how big does that thing get to like smelt steel into like a skyscraper?
Right.
Like think a little, okay. Yeah. Oh, there's free energy. There's energy everywhere. It's just like, what is the density and how much can we harvest and like, what can we do with it?
Yeah. How can we direct it?
Like, and fusion isn't rocket science either. It's how the sun's powered. It's just that happens to be, I don't know how the sun works. It's helium and it's just incredibly high temperatures and it's just fueling itself and it's going insane.
Yeah. It's a ball of...
It's just a big ball of hell no.
Yeah.
Don't touch that.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Real. And then you need it. Like, if you don't have vitamin D, it's like, that's massive to...
Yeah, we need the sun.
It's magic.
The sun is powering everything on this planet.
Yeah.
Although, like, if you want to... Okay.
Wow.
There's so much energy in the crust... below the crust of the Earth, in the core of the Earth. The entire planet could easily be powered by geothermal.
Okay.
And there are people working on deep bore geothermal right now, which is like the next wave of geothermal. Like I've been to the Azores and it's mostly geothermal. Like, you know, it's like those fucking crypto people go to these
Mm-hmm.
places like Iceland because their energy is incredibly cheap.
Yeah.
Like, you go to Iceland and it's like your
They're
power bill
mining
is nothing.
Yeah.
You know why? It's because they have huge pools of lava
Yeah.
close to the surface, and they just make steam and they make power that way. So they don't have to import natural gas, coal, anything like that.
Yeah.
It's just there. They make electricity from the hot water that they generate.
It just pushes and
Yeah, anywhere you have active
makes the magic happen.
yeah, anywhere you have active like fault zones, like
I know El Salvador is using their volcano to run Bitcoin bonds, and it's fascinating because then
I fucking hate Bitcoin, but whatever. I hate crypto, but yes, yes,
it's cool though.
They go to these places where energy is cheap to like
Mm-hmm.
waste human resources on idiocy. Yes, they do. So good for them. But
that's also Bitcoin's magic too. You know,
Bitcoin's
they're using
magic
magic to make more magic. It's
yeah, but it has to be trust.
I know.
All current trust is the only real currency. I've never heard money spoken about in such a truer sense, but it all is trust.
Really, yeah.
It's like, do you believe that this thing is worth what it's worth?
Yeah.
We all have to believe it in order for it to be true.
That's so great. Yeah,
It's very crazy, but it's the absolute fact of economics is that we all have to buy into this idea.
Yeah,
That what this thing is in front of us is worth
It's valuable.
as much to me as it is to you.
yeah. It's crazy.
It is crazy.
Even like you may say gold, but even gold, like it's just
so
a precious
stupid.
metal. Yeah,
It's so the gold standard. It's the only way it's worth something is if somebody wants to buy it.
right.
That's the only way it's worth something.
Though you
Otherwise,
can
it's
use
just a
it in
freaking
things,
chunk of
but,
shit.
Yeah, same as steel might be worth more, or
Yeah, or like
meat. You know, what I mean, that's worth way more. Food's worth way more
food.
because it's consumed.
I always say that. I'm like, you can't eat gold.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Or a dollar or Bitcoin.
Or a dollar. You can't eat any of that shit.
Yeah.
So wait, we're gonna wrap up soon, but wait, that whole we get back to electricity here. Yeah, they're working on deep bore geothermal right now. There are companies out there that are working on anywhere in the world. If you dig down far enough, it's hot enough to generate the steam.
Oh wow.
So if you can figure out how to do that, you can set up geothermal plants anywhere around the world.
Oh wow.
And once they
like
figure
full
that out, it's done.
Yeah.
Like it's free.
And then you're not having to use this finite resource. Well, it's not free because it's going to take.
Everything costs something, but like
it's sustainable.
it's not
at some level.
radioactive. It's not moving water.
Yeah.
It requires water, but in a closed loop system.
Don't have to worry about clouds.
You don't have to worry about hydro. Like you don't have to dam up a river. You don't have to change ecosystems.
Right.
Yeah, when I was in the Azores, man, they just had these geothermal plants.
They're just chilling.
Yeah, anywhere you have like hot springs and shit like that.
It's energy moving, and then we harvest that energy, and then we send it to people's houses.
Exactly.
And then they put
we would take it out
lights out of nowhere,
just and be better off for it. Apparently, that's crazy. Like I need these 1,000 lights in my house so that I may see, who knows what.
Right. Yeah.
It's like
the
now
hand of God come down.
Yeah, like old people need a little more light.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
Like in bathrooms and places where they might fall. Like you don't want.
Yeah.
There are some things with that, but
yeah,
it's
50 cans, 80 cans, not needed. Yeah. But
and they would readily admit it too. I've had a conversation with these people.
It brings up the value of my house when I have, right?
Wait, when you have 50 cans?
Yeah, it definitely does. No.
Oh yeah, put them in the walls too, bro.
Yeah.
You put like heat lamps in them, be like a little lizard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but,
oh my god.
Gosh, unless they're growing something inside, then you need.
Wait, what are you talking about growing?
Nothing,
dude.
You gotta wrap it up.
No. Now I can get on. We can get on to growing marijuana up in Michigan because I've been on this route. You know, like going to this job.
Yeah.
That I haven't been going to, and
yeah,
there's
the job that you have in Indiana.
Exactly, but I have to take a loop up into Michigan, and there is a farm that I shit you not is like
for the blueberries. Everyone knows for the blueberries because the best blueberries are in Michigan. Sorry, go ahead. All right, keep going.
They do have good blueberries up in Michigan. I will agree. Blueberry Kush. No, I'm just. Hey, fair enough.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Okay.
Good point.
But I was driving by this thing and I'm like, what is all that? What is that? Like, what are they growing over there? Is it tomatoes? No. It was 20 acres of weed.
Really?
20 acres. I could show you on the Google Maps.
Oh my God.
Now, I was talking to my brother about it, and he works up in Niles. He works for a German company up in Niles. And
I bet they have just warehouses.
They do, and he said it stinks.
Oh.
Like, he's like, right next door is BC Provisions or whatever. And actually, it's funny. Like, I was driving through there today, and I actually got to see where my brother works, so it's cool.
That's cool.
But, yeah, he was like, it just stinks.
Yeah.
It's like, it smells like a skunk. I actually like the smell of skunk, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Probably not all day.
Yeah.
I like it when I drive by and I'm like,
ooh,
skunk around here.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the same. Yeah. I also enjoy the smell of skunk. It's like, oh yeah, that's a nice little walk. But I guess if I was there all the time,
it'd get a little bad.
A buddy has like it's like a buddy who knows a buddy who knows a buddy, right? This is the story. But someone that lives in Dowagiac, I think it's Dowagiac, or some small little town, and all they do is grow weed there. And he's like, the whole town smells like just weed. It's
bad,
town.
Dude. It's bad.
Yeah.
It's basically they're doing the same thing to weed and all these like.
It's a monocrop now.
It is a monocrop.
Yeah.
It's a commodity crop. You take it, you process it, and like
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever been in one of these like stores. You haven't been in a dispensary?
Oh, I haven't been like to a place where they're growing it. You know what I'm saying? Like I haven't been to where the like a whole grow op is.
The dispensaries are a joke.
Really?
Like it's basically like the supermarket, like the shit food aisle.
Yeah.
Like they've taken
Do you want nerd ropes? Do you want right cookies and cream?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's taking something that is like on God's green earth and turning it into a commodity and turning it into a process. Like, because anytime you can process something, you add value to it.
Yeah.
Even if it's
the middleman touches it for a little bit.
Exactly.
Right.
Even if you degrade like the actual essence of it, which you're doing every time you touch it.
Yeah.
Like you take something beautiful.
Yeah.
Like weed, whatever. Like I
or
don't care
blueberries. Let's go back to blueberries. Like when they you touch it and you put it in boxes and then you ship it over here and then they put it in a bag and then they put it onto the
right.
Like you've now put 17 steps and it does not taste the same as if you were to go and grab it and eat it.
And it's not as good for you.
It's not.
Like what if you go buy like a blueberry pie filling out of a can? That shit is gross.
Yeah.
Right?
There's no blueberry in there.
Well,
it's
there
sugar.
is, but it's also like full of I like a blueberry pie and I put sugar in it. But I don't also put all the additives and preservatives and everything else that like makes it shelf stable so that I can sell it for 10 years and like make a profit. Yeah. You know, and like I don't
during the nuclear apocalypse you can pop this open.
Exactly. Be like, God bless America, I got my blueberry pie filling. Be like, I've been eating on this for 10 years. And, like your mouth is rotted, and like your kidneys are shot. No
toothpaste,
or something.
but
yeah. Exactly. You're like scrubbing your teeth with the tin can.
Yeah.
You're probably gumming it at that point. Shit.
Yeah, for real. Yeah. It's the only thing that actually is.
My teeth rotted out 10 years ago, but the blueberry pie filling is still going strong.
It still got me.
Good night. Well, we should probably wrap this up.
So good, dude. Jesse, thank you so much, bro. No, I don't know if you want. I always allow people to say if they want to, like, if people want to follow them, or if you have like places that you want to shout out or things that they can go check out. If you have any of that,
treesforgoshen.org.
Yep.
I mean,
I'll link
we
that
don't
below.
do shit on that, but
it's a website. You can check
there,
it out.
Yeah.
Especially when you said fall and spring is when you guys plant, right? Those 2 seasons.
Yeah,
so.
go plant some trees.
Yeah.
Like,
especially if you need places to plant trees. If you have a spot in your yard that you'd like a tree planted, hit up Trees for Goshen.
Oh, we would love to. I will personally come and help you plant it if you wish. We also love it when people plant their own trees. That's kind of what we try to get people to do. It's not hard. It's really
but the tree just shows up. They just put it in. It's super.
Yes.
Yeah.
We are a one-stop shop for trees.
It's cool.
For free with donations if you like.
Yeah.
Slotzfus Mannor on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
We have some upcoming shows. Robinson and Roa on August 16 over at my house. Trying to get some other bands coming up here soon. Might be really cool.
Yeah. We didn't even talk about that. That's been some of the most enjoyable things we've done. Just going to your house and just listen to live music.
Dude,
there's something to live music.
And in intimate settings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It really is. Like, you can go to a huge thing, but then, like, in that, there's a little sweeter. intimacy-ness to that, like in intimacy.
There's room for it all.
Mhm.
There is, but yeah, I don't know. I love feeding people, and I love seeing people enjoying themselves.
Yeah.
You know, so
I love that.
that's
It's the sharing. You like to share. That's a cool
I
thing.
guess so.
Stoltzfus Mannor on Facebook. I'll link that as well.
Yeah, so Robinson and Roa, August 16th at my house, 111 South 7th Street. Oh, just doxed myself. Oops. It's like right over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, what else? Jay is our minister of propaganda, so he's always
I love Jason.
yeah, right. My room.
I gotta get him on the podcast.
You should,
That's the
man. That
next
guy
one.
can talk. He's a good man.
That's the next one.
Yeah, he is like an aggregator for Goshen's music scene through the Slotzfus Mannor site. He should almost just have his own, really. But yeah, he's always giving shout outs to bands and telling about shows that are coming up. Yeah. And so if not for just following us for shows that we have at the house, Jay is on top of the music scene in Goshen. So if you want to know what's going on in Goshen, music scene,
follow him.
Follow the Slotzfus Mannor, and Jay will
direct you to the right.
Our minister of propaganda.
I love it.
Yeah,
he's so great. I love Jay.
He is good.
Dude, Jesse, thank you so much for coming on.
You're welcome.
This has been a blast.
Yeah, this is fun. This is great.
We'll catch you guys on the next Timonspodcast.
Wait, do you have a... Is it over? Oh, you're doing a thing.
Yeah. Well,